Chapter 596. Jiang Zhao took the newspaper and glanced at Zhuang Yichen's side profile when he turned around. When he sat back, he was still looking at Zhuang Yichen. He should have read the newspaper immediately, but he knew the importance of the situation and needed to divert his attention to sort it out. He crossed his legs and leaned back. Then, he shook the newspaper in a seemingly leisurely manner and opened it. He held his breath. There were pictures and text. Yesterday, Ouyang Yan got into his car. In the end, it was his car that sent Ouyang Yan back to the condominium in the northern part of the city. Ouyang Yan stood outside his car door, as if waiting for him. There was no Yi air. The most important thing was that the two of them were childhood sweethearts. They went to the same school and later confirmed their relationship. After Ouyang Yan returned to Haicheng, he moved into his condominium in the northern part of the city. After getting married, he didn't move out. There was one time when he seemed to be drunk. It was Ouyang Yan who brought him to the condominium in the northern part of the city. There were pictures and incidents. Some of them seemed to be trivial, but the key words used were ambiguous and ambiguous. It made people's imagination run wild. For example, on a certain day, the two of them came out of a restaurant at the same time. A designated driver sent them back to the condominium in the northern part of the city. The two of them went upstairs together. Until the editor left, neither of them left first. What an accurate but immoral description. Until the editor left? When did the editor leave? Jiang Zhao was sure that the reporters who dared to publish news about a political figure like him had already resigned. He guessed that even the chief editor had to resign today. After all, his position was not as high as those bosses who started their own companies. If something that did not exist was blown out of proportion, he might be demoted or fired. This was clearly to destroy him. Who in Haicheng dared to go against the Jiang and Qin families in public? Do you have any reliable information? Jiang Zhao's voice didn't sound strange at all. He didn't raise his head and asked calmly, as if he was watching someone else's news. It was just that his eyes were lowered. The murderous aura that shot out from his pupils was hidden under his drooping dark eyelashes. There was almost no warning when this matter came out. Suddenly, there was thunder in the clear sky. Suddenly, the wind blew and the clouds gathered. The sky was thick black, as if a storm was about to happen. Not yet. I bought the newspaper by accident. Zhuang Yichen lied. Last night, he stayed at Xiaoya's place in Qingfeng Garden. Last night, Xiaoya's car had problems and couldn't start. So he sent her to work for the first time. After all, he had to go to two places and in different directions. So he had to go to Qingfeng Garden earlier. Xiao, she got out. Xiao, when she saw the newspaper, she got, and saw the newspaper and saw the newspaper saw. And she saw in the newspaper. He didn't discuss it with her. When she got out of the car, he asked her for the newspaper. After reading the newspaper, he decided to talk to Jiang Zhao face to face. It wasn't convenient to talk to Jiang Zhao with the driver. He asked the driver to take a taxi to the company. He and Jiang Zhao had been tied together for many years. Jiang Zhao's interests were almost inseparable from his. Once this mutually beneficial relationship was terminated because of Jiang Zhao's downfall, it would be difficult to find such a partner again. Most importantly, they had known each other since they were teenagers. No matter how they used each other, they trusted each other more than others. You're early today. It's rare. Looks like you slept well last night. Jiang Zhao smiled lightly. Zhuang Yichen also smiled. Jiang Zhao was still in the mood to tease him at a time like this? He couldn't even protect himself. How could he have the leisure to watch the storm? However, if he acted too impatient, it wouldn't be like Jiang Zhao. Except for the time when he was driven mad by Yunyi, he was still the Jiang Zhao he knew. Yes, I'm so good to you. Old master and commander haven't called you yet, right? If he hadn't been so early today, if Xiaoya hadn't gotten out of the car to buy tea eggs from the newspaper stand, he wouldn't have known what had happened until he arrived at the company. If that was the case, the people who told Jiang Zhao this news should be the elders of the Jiang and Qin families. Huh. Jiang Zhao closed the newspaper and laughed. Indeed, you're the best to me. However, my grandfather is doing morning exercises at this time. When he's doing Tai Chi, who dares to disturb him? My dad might be resting today. I don't think anyone dares to disturb him. Let's wait until 7 o'clock. My phone will start to explode at 7 o'clock. At the end of his sentence, his smile faded. He lifted his wrist and rolled up his sleeves. It seemed like time was going to pass very quickly. In the blink of an eye, he might be bombarded with phone calls one after another. Jiang Zhao's suit wasn't as gorgeous as Zhuang Yichen's. Other than the superior tailoring and material, it was mostly plain and calm. Although both of their suits were mainly dark, Zhuang Yichen's small collar was made of glossy silk. Moreover, only half of the collar was made of glossy silk. This kind of asymmetrical appearance suddenly stood out from the dull and monotonous suit and appeared more fashionable. Jiang Zhao folded the newspaper in his hand and put it on the side. Then, he sat on the edge of the chair. This way, half of his butt was on the chair. He leaned forward and stretched out his long arm. He pulled Zhuang Yichen's small collar gently with a smile in his eyes. Oh, not bad. I realize that the suits you often wear are better than mine. When I'm not an official, I can wear a suit like yours. Huh. I guess it's Qiu Xiaoya's taste. Anyway, before Qiu Xiaoya appeared a few years ago, your style of dressing was similar to mine. Jiang Zhao casually mentioned Xiaoya again. Zhuang Yichen lowered his head and looked at his collar where Jiang Zhao was holding. If he continued to hold it, it would wrinkle. He pretended to slap Jiang Zhao's hand away. Jiang Zhao opened his hands and sat back in his usual seat. He crossed his legs, leaned back, and shook his toes. Zhuang Yichen couldn't help but laugh. Looks like I'm looking for trouble. You are not anxious at all, but I'm anxious. Jiang Zhao shrugged his shoulders and casually teased Zhuang Yichen. Is this what they mean by, the emperor is not anxious, but the eunuch is anxious to death? No, it's more like the eunuch is not anxious, but the emperor is anxious to death. Huh. Zhuang Yichen didn't want to admit that he was a eunuch. Jiang Zhao didn't take it to heart. You're putting the cart before the horse. You're ruining the story. Zhuang Yichen sighed. It looks like Jiang Zhao had some thoughts that he didn't understand and couldn't discuss for the time being. There was no point in continuing. Forget it then. If you're not anxious, I'll leave first. Get out of the car. I don't want to send you to work. My car uses a lot of gas. It's not worth it. Okay. Then I'll leave first. Jiang Zhao opened the car door. Zhuang Yichen stopped him. Brother Zhao, are you giving up on yourself, or are you trying to turn the tables on her? He was indeed worried that Jiang Zhao seemed to have too many things on his mind recently. If he really didn't care about anything and went with the flow, that wouldn't be good. Wait until I find out who's messing with me first. Jiang Zhao said plainly. However, he couldn't help but tighten his grip on the door handle. He really couldn't let his guard down after being set up by someone. I'm afraid that by the time you find out who's behind it, you'll already be dismissed. Zhuang Yichen was telling the truth. Recess is not the end of school. Recess is not a 2-day break. The 2-day break is not a summer vacation. Even if it's a summer vacation, it doesn't mean that you'll graduate. There's no end to learning. Jiang Zhao laughed again, but Zhuang Yichen could hear the coldness in Jiang Zhao's laughter. The two of them had worked together for many years. He felt that he understood Jiang Zhao very well. Jiang Zhao's methods were not as ruthless as his, but that was only because Jiang Zhao's position didn't allow him to. Otherwise, if Jiang Zhao wasn't restricted by the Red Sect and his political power, he would have killed and robbed. There was nothing he wouldn't dare to do. Don't tell me you don't want me to find out who's behind this? Jiang Zhao shook his head. If it were any other matter, I would definitely ask you to investigate. However, this matter is so widespread that it's written about my relationship with my childhood sweetheart. It's not only to embarrass me, it's also to embarrass the well-bred Ouyang Yen. Tell me, after 7 o'clock, when my grandfather and brother Lai Qing see this kind of newspaper, won't they investigate? They'll definitely investigate, and they'll investigate openly. They won't necessarily be slower than you. I just don't want to waste resources. However, as Jiang Zhao said this, he placed his hand on the door handle back on his knee. When he knocked lightly, his handsome eyebrows furrowed slightly. However, after this matter is investigated, it's not convenient for me to do anything at home. I'm afraid I'll have to trouble you again. Huh. Zhuang Yichen was waiting for this sentence. As long as Jiang Zhao said this, it meant that he could say 2 words. Benefits? Benefits? Jiang Zhao laughed as freely as Zhuang Yichen. The benefits are that if I'm still in this position, I can still go to a higher position, and you'll have more benefits. But the downside? Jiang Zhao paused slightly, and his eyes flashed slyly like a fox. The downside is that if I step down from this position and can no longer sit in this position, Chen Tong won't be able to help you with Zhuang Yifeng's matter. Even if he's on the same side as you, it's impossible because I have the Qin family and the Jiang family behind me, and he's only Chen Tong. And all the hard work you've put in this area will be in vain. Zhuang Yichen took a deep breath, but he didn't show any disappointment. He had been talking to Jiang Zhao, who was sitting on the left side of the back seat. At this time, he sat up straight and looked ahead. Looks like it's a big benefit. At this time, Jiang Zhao's phone rang sharply. He glanced at the caller ID and said to Zhuang Yichen, "Contact me if there's anything." Welfare, Xinwu 799. Chapter 597. After getting out of the car, he picked up the phone. Hello, Dad. You little bastard. Jiang Liqing's voice went through the phone like a detonator exploding. Jiang Zhao walked to his parking space with his briefcase in one hand and took the phone away from his ear. When he heard no more shouting, he took it back. You are really a bastard. In the Jiang family, the words, little bastard, bastard, and wolf were the pet words of the elders. They had the privilege to talk back. No matter what kind of bastard he is still your bastard. That was a big deal. Even if he was in his 20s, he might slap the back of his neck. Dad, what do you think we should do? When the atmosphere was relaxed, Jiang Zhao called Jiang Liqing, brother Liqing. In fact, Jiang Zhao's EQ was higher than his younger brother in this aspect. At least on the surface, he didn't look as rebellious as Jiang Feng. However, when he wanted to achieve his goal, it was often easier. He called Jiang Liqing Dad at this time. Firstly, it meant that the situation was serious. Secondly, he threw the initiative to Jiang Liqing. It seemed that he was at his disposal, but in fact, he was seeking Jiang Liqing's protection. Jiang Zhao always admitted that he didn't get to where he was today at such a young age by himself. It wasn't because of his talent and intelligence. He wouldn't be arrogant to that extent. So, he told Zhuang Yichen that he had the Qin family and the Jiang family behind him. This was not the attitude of the third generation of a rich family, but a realistic analysis of his own advantages. What should we do? You can do this kind of thing, and you are telling me what to do? You bastard. Jiang Liqing had to scold him in every sentence to vent his anger. He couldn't figure out how he could have such a son. Before he got married, he often appeared in the headlines with some female stars, but it was also something that didn't have an end. Even if it had an end, so what? He was a businessman. How could Jiang Zhao be the same? Jiang Zhao was a politician, and what he was most afraid of was not going down the wrong path. Now, not only was his reputation tarnished, even his family Ouyang's daughter could not go out to meet people. In a place like the army, there were indeed many sons of people of his age who did not live up to expectations. However, he was different. Although Jiang Feng was a little rebellious when he was young, he did not cause any big trouble. At most, he loved to play. Now, his career abroad was doing well and he would be back soon. He felt that it was honorable to talk about it. Needless to say, Jiang Zhao had been developing very well. No one would jump out and say that he was not up to par. When it was necessary to be tough, he would be tough. In politics, many people wanted to catch this son of his who had risen quickly, but no one could do so. Everyone said that Jiang Zhao was a strict person who followed the law. Not to mention a persimmon chief, even a section chief had many mistresses and prostitutes. People in the circle would also talk about it. But who had ever talked about Jiang Zhao's scandal? Even if you wanted to, you could not find it. He had always been very gratified. Now, the good reputation he had built for so many years was all ruined. And they had only been married for a few months. Dad, I'll let you scold me for 3 more minutes. Let's talk about business. Jiang Zhao did not change his tone. He sighed and walked to his car. He took out the key, pressed the lock, sat in the car, pulled the door, started the car, and warmed it up. Jiang Liqing's voice became louder. You bastard, you are still in the right. Jiang Zhao imagined that his father must have made the call in the office next to the conference room in the army. There were some voices just now. Probably someone had shown him the newspaper. He suddenly felt ashamed. At this time, his back must be straight and his head raised. He must be so angry that his face turned red. He held the phone and scolded with one hand and supported his waist with the other hand to increase his momentum. Thinking of his father's look, Jiang Zhao suddenly smiled. Jiang Zhao had 3 minutes to scold him. Jiang Zhao did not speak. He just looked at his watch. Listening to Jiang Liqing scolding and roaring, he began to sort out the lines in his mind. These bastards from the Jiang family. None of them are easy to deal with. I think only Jiang Ji is easy to deal with, unlike you. You have been bad since you were young. Jiang Liqing was always like this. He would always look forward. When you were young, you only knew how to gamble with your brother in school. One gambled, and the other went out. When you came home, you lied to your grandpa that your brother gave you extra lessons. The 2 of you shared the loot secretly, you bastard. You and Jiang Rui are both bastards. You have been up to no good since you were young. Jiang Rui was better than you in elementary school. What about you? You especially changed the marks. Except for the final marks, when did you not change them? You even changed the marks of the homework for the usual tests. You even dared to imitate my signature to hand in the homework. You even dared to imitate my signature to write excellent. Tell me, what good things have you done since you were young? Jiang Zhao sighed softly. He was suffering from Alzheimer's. He couldn't forget these things even if he wanted to, because his father would always bring up the things that happened when he was young. Whenever there was a competition, it was a must to bring up the past. Think about it yourself. Have you ever made others worry since you were young? When you were young, you climbed the wall of someone else's house with your brother to steal peaches. You even brought your brother to steal peaches. Also, after you came to Haicheng, your grades were good. You suddenly became a god from the god of plague in elementary school. When you were great, you started to let others copy your homework. When they copied yours, you still wanted to collect money. You even helped others cheat to make money. If these things were spread out, they would say that I, Jiang Liqing, did not give you pocket money. You have been embarrassing me since you were young. Jiang Zhao did not refute. How could he not feel embarrassed? The Jiang family was considered a big rich family. There were 4 brothers in the family. Which one of them had enough pocket money when they were young? If it was enough, would Big Brother have gambled? Would he have extorted money from Big Brother? Would he sell his homework? Would he sell his answers? They also said that one could be strong without desires. He did not know what those guys were thinking. Fian had blamed him many times and said, "Brother, since you came to Haicheng, Grandpa started to cut off my pocket money. He said that he wanted to learn from you and not be allowed to be a playboy. It's all your fault. My pocket is now empty." He clearly had no choice, but in the end, he became the main culprit. Jiang Zhao listened to Jiang Liqing's accusations and raised his wrist to look at the time. It was as if he was listening to a radio broadcast. He felt that to be able to hear his father say these things at this time was more interesting than a talk show. Oh, so he was so wicked when he was young? But how did he suddenly become a gentleman dressed like a beast? The phone suddenly went silent. Jiang Zhao waited for a while. Jiang Liqing still did not speak, so he laughed and asked, "Dad, it hasn't even been 3 minutes and you're already done talking about my great achievements?" Jiang Liqing's throat was smoking from anger. "Bastard! Can't I even drink some water? Slow down, I'll wait for you." Jiang Zhao waited for Jiang Liqing to lose his temper. He was used to it and knew that he could not talk back or argue with his father when he was angry. He could only go along with him and let it go after this. Jiang Liqing also looked at his watch. It had not been 3 minutes, so he was not in the mood to continue scolding. He picked up the tea that the guard had made for him and took a sip. Instantly, his throat felt better. "Jiang Zhao, tell me, is it because you can't let go of that family Ouyang girl? Dad, do you believe me? You're my son. If I don't believe you, who should I believe? Dad, let me tell you, other than the things that happened between me and Yun Yun in the past, the rest are all nonsense." "What do you think? Nonsense?" Jiang Liqing straightened his back and slammed the teacup in his hand on the desk. With a bang, the guard outside the door thought that something had been smashed and was very worried. He did not dare to enter the office and could only wait for orders. Motherf **Ker, who dares to write gossip about my son? Jiang Liqing joined the army early. At that time, the people who joined the army were generally not as cultured as the current ones. Moreover, the soldiers were actually quite loyal. They were no different from those in the underworld. They were nothing more than people who killed people for their belongings and trampled on them for their belongings. After Jiang Liqing married Qin Zhen, who was a well-bred lady, did not like vulgar men. She did not like Jiang Liqing swearing. At that time, Jiang Liqing had a sweetheart and did not care about Qin Zhen's feelings. He said whatever he wanted. Later, after they divorced, he did not say anything. If Jiang Liqing even cursed out Motherf **Ker, it meant that his internal organs were on fire. "Dad, it's really nonsense. There's nothing I don't dare to admit. After I married Yunyi, I never thought of having another woman outside. You've been through it, right? Even if we had a relationship in the past, after marriage, the wife is the wife, and the ex is the ex. As men of the Jiang family, how can we mess around with this kind of thing?" Jiang Zhao easily dragged Jiang Liqing into the water. He knew very well about his parents' past. When his parents got married, it was more or less arranged. Jiang Liqing said, "Don't compare it to my matter. At that time, I was in a different era from you. How advanced is the information technology now? How isolated were we back then? At that time, things like this would at most be solved by sitting together at home. Is it possible now? I only found out when the newspapers were out. Dad." Jiang Zhao felt that he would rather listen to Jiang Liqing scold people. He did not know if it was because his family background was too good that he was so fearlessly stalling for time. You can investigate this matter slowly. Or should I investigate it myself? You want me to clean up your mess? Then I'll have a meeting in the morning and start investigating in the afternoon. Bastard! You still have the face to go to a meeting? I'll investigate it. Jiang Zhao smiled. Thank you for your hard work, Brother Lai Qing. You impudent bastard. Just you wait. When we get home tonight, I'll break your legs. Artificial limbs are too expensive. Even if you're rich, you shouldn't waste it like this. Jiang Zhao was still fooling around recklessly. I'm so angry. I'm hanging up. As soon as Jiang Zhao hung up, Ouyang Yen called, Beauty Novel, Hongcha 866. Chapter 598. Jiang Zhao looked at the Ouyang Yan's call. He really wasn't in the mood to drive, so he simply leaned against the pillow to rest. He picked up the call. Hello. Ouyang Yan heard the slight distance in Jiang Zhao's voice. She waited for a moment, but Jiang Zhao didn't call her Yun Yun. Second brother, did you see the newspaper? What should we do? Ouyang Yan's gentle voice sounded a little probing and aggrieved. To the ears of others, it sounded like she was compromising and weak. And Jiang Zhao knew whether Ouyang Yan was weak or not. If she was gentle, she looked really gentle. If she was stubborn, she was really stubborn. Yun Yun, come out and explain yourself. After that, I hope you can move out of the northern part of the city. Jiang Zhao's eyes were closed, so his expression couldn't be seen clearly. His voice was lazy, as though he was extremely tired. His tone couldn't be deciphered, but he said clearly, move out. When Ouyang Yan called him, he suddenly thought of a problem. Previously, he was worried about how much this matter would affect his future, and who was the mastermind behind this matter. If the family's power couldn't suppress this matter, how much damage would it cause to him and the family in the future? But now, he was worried about how much this matter would affect his family. How much would it affect his and Yi Er's small family? The last time he got drunk, it was Yi Er who dragged him home from Ouyang Yan's place. When Yi Er lifted his blanket, he didn't even take off his clothes. Yi Er actually knew in his heart. Last night, when Yi Er was injured, he sent Yi Er back to the hospital. Yi Er also knew very well. Those things in the past really happened, and he couldn't deny it. But it was a little too complicated to write about his love history in such a sensational way. He didn't even feel that it was so soul-stirring. Why did it become such a tear-jerking love story when it was written by a reporter? What would Yi Er think when she saw these words? He was actually looking forward to seeing her reaction. He didn't know why, but even at a time like this, he still wanted to see her agitated reaction, criticism, and complaints. He actually hoped that it would be Yi Er who suggested that Ouyang Yan move out of the northern part of the city, but she never mentioned it. If she didn't care, why would she mind that his ex-girlfriend was living in his house? What did you say? Ouyang Yan exclaimed in surprise. I said you should move out of the northern part of the city. If you really think it's close to work, I can get the security guard to help you find a place to rent. You don't have to live in my place. Actually, you know, this matter. Ouyang Yan's voice was a little choked up. Are you regretting letting me live in the house? Was today's incident all because of me? Brother Er, can you speak with some conscience? I was the one who asked to borrow the house from you, but you were drunk that time. If I hadn't brought you to the northern part of the city to rest, what would have happened if someone else saw you like that? I was the one who asked you out yesterday, but it's your fault for not taking a picture of Yi Er. How can you blame it on me alone? Now that the matter is out, instead of thinking about how to solve it, you're blaming it on me alone. Is it fair for you to treat me like this? Jiang Zhao didn't refute. He didn't need to discuss what was fair and what was unfair with a woman who had been involved in psychological warfare with all sorts of suspects and criminals for a long time. Right now, he didn't have the intention to pursue who was in the right or wrong. He simply wanted to avoid as much trouble as possible. The person who is the most unfair in this matter is your sister-in-law. Have you ever thought about how she feels about what was written in the newspaper? She was just using you. She doesn't love you. How can she feel? If you don't believe me, ask her. Ask her if she feels anything. Yang Yan's hysteria made Jiang Zhao frown. However, his eyes were still closed. Occasionally, his eyelashes fluttered slightly to show his emotions. Yun, have you ever thought that you're really meddling too much? Since before we got married, you've been saying that she doesn't love me and that we're not suitable for each other. At that time, I said in front of so many people at home that whether she loves me or not is between me and her. Actually, you have no right to interfere. Jiang Zhao suddenly opened his eyes. When he looked ahead, his eyes narrowed slightly. Yun, what do you think is the best way to solve this matter? Yang Yan was silent for a while. She seemed to feel guilty. I haven't thought of it yet. Jiang Zhao slowly opened his eyes. The fog in the winter morning was thick and heavy. However, the weather seemed to be good today. They could already feel the golden sunlight passing through part of the fog, giving the sky above their heads a colorful halo. Yun, do as I say. Move out. Yang Yan took a deep breath. Okay, let me look for a house on my own. There's no need to ask the guards for help. They already know each other. I can ask them about it when the time comes. Jiang Zhao chuckled. The guards over there won't go so far as to ask about the residents' privacy. However, if you really mind, then forget it. It's settled then. We can talk about other things later. I'll contact you if there's any situation. The two of them said a few words and hung up the phone. Jiang Zhao felt that he had done everything he could, but Yang Yan felt that Jiang Zhao was heartless and heartless. Qing Su got out of bed, walked to the table by the window, and sat down. Min Hongsheng took the thermos from the servant and opened it. The delicious aroma of the peanut porridge floated out. During her illness, Qing Su had to avoid a lot of food. Otherwise, she would like to eat the deep-fried dough sticks fried with alum. It was poisonous, but it was okay to eat a little. She could occasionally satisfy her cravings. The most important thing was that deep-fried dough sticks with alum were fluffy and fragrant. Ever since Qing Su fell ill, Min Hongsheng wanted to do everything for her personally. When he thought of how badly she was injured that day, the criminal investigator said that the way she drove was suicidal. Suicide. At that moment, Min Hongsheng's tears flowed out. He didn't know what else he couldn't satisfy for Qing Su. He didn't even have the heart to say a harsh word to her. He would give her whatever she wanted. He would even give her whatever she didn't want. In fact, he had treated this daughter better than he had his son. Suicide. He really couldn't understand why his daughter wanted to commit suicide. When he thought of the hard times she and her mother had gone through and what the criminal investigator said, his heart ached so much that he couldn't sleep well at night. He took care of her personally to make up for the years he owed them. Later, he thought about it carefully. His daughter still refused to change her surname. She would turn hostile at the mention of it. Perhaps it was because her feelings for her mother were too deep that she refused to abandon the surname Liu. Actually, he was too subjective. As her father, he had never been involved in his daughter's past. Her mother was the one who did all the hard work. How could she be willing to take his surname? Actually, it was good that her surname was Liu. It was really good. He didn't want to talk to her about changing her surname anymore. He packed the porridge and handed it to Qing Su. Then, as if he remembered something, he took it back and said, Daddy will blow it for you. It's too hot. When his son was young, he had also fed him, but this daughter, he had never taken care of her for even a day. Thinking of this, his heart felt a burst of sorrow. Ching-su had always treated Min Hongsheng's care as heir. She snatched the bowl from his hand and lowered her head to blow at it. I can't even do this. I might as well kill myself. Min Hongsheng almost mistook her for Min Zikai and slapped her on the head, but just as he raised his hand, he paused. Spit, spit, spit. You're not allowed to say such inauspicious things again. After saying that, she tugged on Ching-su's ear and muttered, Duan Duan, Duan Duan, tug on the ear. It's not a big deal. Ching-su slapped Min Hongsheng's hand away. You're so superstitious. Let me eat. Okay, you eat. I'll ask the nurse to get today's newspaper. It's Friday today. By the way, I'll ask the doctor if you can go out for a walk. Dad will take you out for a walk. Ching-su didn't say anything, so Min Hongsheng did as he said. However, when he opened the newspaper and read it, he began to talk to himself in shock. Aya, the heavens have eyes. Jiang Zhao is done for this time. I don't know who he offended, but he's so unlucky to be with that girl from the family Ouyang so openly. Ching-su turned her head. What did you say? Jiang Zhao and that girl from the family Ouyang? Ching-su wasn't familiar with the socialites in High City. She didn't fit in with these people. She didn't want to mix in, and she didn't want to ask about it. Yeah, it's full of pictures and text. It's not a lie. Min Hongsheng took the newspaper and showed it to Ching-su, who seemed to be very interested. Ching-su was fine when she didn't read it, but after reading line by line, she was a little angry. How can this be? Jiang Zhao and Sister Yi Er have only been married for a few months. How can he do such a shameless thing? Is Sister Yi Er dead? Last night? How long has it been since the patient woke up? She's already with the old Qing dynasty? I couldn't tell that Jiang Zhao was such a bad guy. I thought he was quite concerned about Sister Yi Er. You can't see through a man like Jiang Zhao. Don't be fooled by him. Dad isn't on the same page as him. Min Hongsheng couldn't help but admit that he couldn't wait for Jiang Zhao to fall. Otherwise, if Jiang Zhao stood on the Yun family's side, things would be difficult in the future. After all, family Min had contributed to the Yun family's downfall. I don't care about those things. I have to go find Sister Yi Er. Ching-su rolled up the newspaper and stood up. Ching-su, you haven't finished eating. I'll eat when I come back. Ching-su left her room and went next door. It was still a little early. When she knocked on the door, Yi Er seemed to be still asleep and didn't respond to Ching-su. The hospital's doors were usually not locked unless there was a special reason. This was to make it easier for the nurses to come in and check at any time. Ching-su knocked twice. When no one responded, she pushed the door open and went in. As expected, Yi Er was still asleep. With Ching-su's personality, she couldn't hide anything. She didn't care whether Yi Er was sick or not. She shook her awake and directly placed the newspaper in front of her. You're still sleeping? How can you still sleep? Your husband already cheated on you, and you're still sleeping like a pig. Yi Er was feeling uncomfortable from being pushed by Ching-su. She was too tired last night and took some medicine. She was fine after taking the medicine, but she was so tired that she wanted to sleep as soon as she lay down on the bed. When she thought of the bed leg, she felt like it was filled with lead. She didn't want to wake up. Add Xinwu 799. Chapter 599. She had been responding to Ching-su in a daze, but what did she say? Her husband cheated on her. Yi Er suddenly sat up from the bed. As soon as she sat up, she felt dizzy. She knew that she shouldn't sit up immediately after waking up, otherwise, there would be insufficient blood supply to the brain and cause dizziness. But this time, she couldn't control it. She was so dizzy that she wanted to immediately lie down and rub her head, but she grabbed the newspaper in Ching Su's hand. The newspaper made a cha-cha-cha sound. Yi Er was looking for it anxiously. Ching Su reached out to flip it for her. Luo, take a look. Take a look for yourself. Ching Su was a gangster when she was young. She was occasionally polite, but that was because she felt that she liked the person. She would give the person some benefits appropriately. As they got closer, she would throw away the fake politeness she learned from the rich. At this time, she was scolding Yi Er as if she was educating a child who expected better from her. Look at yourself. What kind of person did you marry? He is still an official. If he was a businessman, wouldn't he be creating gossip every day? I say, you're really too much. You just let him do whatever he wants. You've only been married for a few months. If it were me, I would cripple him. Ching Su was still young and didn't understand love. She didn't understand Yi Er's sour and sharp pain at this time. It wasn't because the reporter described Jiang Zhao's betrayal, but because she remembered clearly the last time she called Jiang Zhao. Ouyang Yan answered the phone. When she found Jiang Zhao, he smelled of alcohol and didn't even take off his clothes. Yesterday, she was injured. The first thing she did when she woke up was to ask him the time. She was afraid that he and Ouyang Yan had been together. If it was only these 2 times, she felt that the reporter was exaggerating. But when she saw the story of his and Ouyang Yan's past, Yi Er couldn't help but cry as she read. A pair of young lovers who had been together since they were 15 or 16 years old. They didn't leave each other all the way through junior high school, and university. Many young men and women who yearned for love were blocked out by their persistence. Childhood sweethearts were scourges, and the scourge was rooted in Ocean University. This pair of childhood sweethearts in other people's mouths didn't need to swear an oath of undying love. In the years since Ouyang Yan left, no other woman had appeared by Jiang Zhao's side. And her Yunyi had become an unexpected accident. The reporter said that the secret behind this was really unknown. But Yi Er knows. How did she end up marrying Jiang Zhao? She snatched Ouyang Yan's opportunity and forced him into the teeth of the storm. When she did that, she had already made up her mind. Unless Jiang Zhao wanted to kill her or ruin her reputation, he could only marry her. Jiang Zhao was not as ruthless as she had expected. She was very glad that a night as husband and wife meant endless devotion for the rest of their lives. But in the face of Jiang Zhao's feelings for Ouyang Yan, Yi Er fell back and clutched the newspaper tightly. Silent tears fell like rain. The more she thought about the content of the newspaper, the more she felt that her future was hopeless. She couldn't see it at all. She was thinking about how long she could hold on. Everyone had a limit. No one was willing to tolerate their husband having another woman outside. But she could bear it. She had to bear it because she couldn't afford to lose this marriage and lose him. She tried her best to kill time for him. She tried everything to make him spend more time with her. In the past, when she took care of Si Jie, she learned to cook a lot of dishes in order to let Si Jie eat more. After they got married, she learned even more. She told him every day what was delicious that night and how unique the cooking was. She hoped that he would come home for dinner. He came as scheduled. She had hope in her heart. But some people said that the one thing a man could never forget was his first love. And the roots of Ouyang Yan's first love were so deep. Even she, an outsider, couldn't help but weep when she saw them go through hardships together. Let alone this pair of people from the Qing dynasty. She had always been unwilling to ask about their past. Even if Tseng Tingting took the initiative to tell her, she wasn't willing to listen or remember. If she didn't know, she wouldn't care. Yi Er held her forehead and looked at the ceiling. But she was Mrs. Jiang. Ouyang Yan was now a mistress. But what if this matter pushed them too far? What if they admitted it? What should she do? No. She definitely couldn't give them such a chance. A day as husband and wife, 100 days of grace. How many days had she been husband and wife with Jiang Zhao? She couldn't count the number of days of grace in the remaining days. Why should she let them be like this? Jiang Zhao was hers. Qing Su couldn't understand her forbearance and pain. But Qing Su hated men who had a foot in two boats. One side was warm and fragrant, and the other side was in the arms of a beauty. What kind of happiness was this? He was simply a beast. Yi Er. She slowly calmed down and sat up on the bed. She took a tissue and wiped the water stains on her face. Lulu, how did you react when you saw the newspaper? Qing Su said, I'm furious. Where did you see the newspaper? My dad gave it to me. How did your dad react when he saw it? Qing Su thought for a while. My dad said that Jiang Zhao is done for this time. The premonition bomb that had been exploding in Yi's mind exploded with a bang. It exploded. That's right. Now, it was not about the love history between Ouyang Yan and Jiang Zhao. It was about Jiang Zhao being done for. The deputy mayor was not the deputy mayor. This kind of problem was fatal. Moreover, because Jiang Zhao was young and handsome, women looked at him like he was a celebrity. All these years, there were no scandals about him. He was simply the ideal marriage partner in the hearts of the women in High City. This had unknowingly formed the power of an idol. But now, this idol had a problem with his style. Yi Er picked up her phone from the bedside table and turned it on. She told Qing Su that she wanted to go back and rest first. Qing Su refused and refused to leave. She promised that she would not make any sound when Yi Er was on the phone. She also promised to keep her secret. Yi Er always knew that Qing Su and family Min did not get along well. Moreover, Qing Su had saved her life before. So, she trusted her more than others. So, she let Qing Su sit on her bed. While waiting for the phone to turn on, she held her phone tightly. The pale color on her fingernails showed how difficult it was for her to do so. When the signal was full, she dialed Jiang Zhao's number. Jiang Zhao looked at Yi Er's incoming call. He sat up straight and picked it up. Hello, Yun Yi. Hubby. Yi Er was still like this. She tried to make her voice sound normal. You're not sleeping anymore. I saw the newspaper. Jiang Zhao's back suddenly straightened. He did not know why, but he was inexplicably excited. This abnormal excitement made him look forward to Yi Er's reaction. I saw it too. What do you plan to do? Me? Jiang Zhao was stunned. Shouldn't she be angry? Yi Er did not understand why Jiang Zhao was still like this. Wasn't he worried at all? Or could it be that this was an opportunity for him and Ouyang Yan? Zhao, I don't think this matter is good for you. No matter what, we should stand out together and explain this matter. Don't you think so? How do you want to explain it? Jiang Zhao smiled slightly. Yi Er was stumped by this question. How should she explain it? To be honest, she was the one who dragged him home from Ouyang Yan's bed at the apartment in the northern part of the city. They did not even have time to do anything before she dragged him home. Yesterday, she was injured because she wanted to ruin their plans. I think we should discuss this matter with Ouyang Yan. She has feelings for you. She wouldn't want to hurt you, right? As long as the three of us deny that what was written in the newspaper is false, it shouldn't cause any trouble. Don't you think so? You're still so young, yet your words sound so convincing. Then tell me, how should the three of us explain this? Jiang Zhao tempted Yi Er step by step, hoping to get some of the answers he wanted from her mouth. You can discuss it with Ouyang Yan. Ask her to say that there's nothing going on between you and her. After that, I will say that all of you are innocent. Okay? Yi actually did not have any experience in this area. She felt that as long as the three of them insisted on this matter, there would definitely be no problem. However, she was unable to persuade Ouyang Yen, so she could only rely on Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao sighed. Why do you want me to talk to her? The public will surely insist that the three of us had discussed this matter beforehand. Don't you think so? No matter how we explain, it will be a cover-up. The public will think we are treating them like idiots. Also, at this time, they will think that I am the deputy mayor, and she is working in the procuratorate. If both of us admit to our relationship, then there must be something wrong with our brains. Do you think there's any use in explaining to the public? What Jiang Zhao said was the truth. Moreover, if someone wanted to mess with him, even if this matter seemed to have calmed down, the mastermind behind the scenes would definitely stir up more waves and make this matter a laughingstock again. Moreover, this was not the only matter he had now. If Yi stood up, there would definitely be people who would slowly point the finger at Yi and Yun Hongwei. The medical parole period was too long. Yi felt uncomfortable when she heard Jiang Zhao's honest words. Explaining is a cover-up? What's wrong with him? He doesn't even want to explain himself. Does he really want to use this opportunity to divorce her? Yi got angry and hung up on Jiang Zhao. She shouldn't have called Jiang Zhao and made herself suffer. Thinking that it was really hard to calm down, she immediately called Xia Qian. After the call was connected, she sobbed with grievance. Qian, you must help me this time. Aren't you working in the media? Can you help me get in touch with someone useful? I want to hold a press conference. Xia Qian sounded like she was running. She was panting on the other end of the phone. You are such a good-for-nothing. My sister called me early in the morning to tell me about this. She asked me to look for you later so as not to disturb your rest. Wait for me. I will look for someone now. I don't believe that I can't teach this couple a lesson. Yi hung up the phone with Xia Qian and began to put on her clothes. Now, she felt more and more that it was important to have a few close friends. When she needed help, Zheng Ling shamelessly helped her drug the government officials. When she wanted to snatch the custody of her younger brother, Zheng Ling took out the share transfer agreement. No matter what the result was, although she didn't want those shares, Zheng Ling really wanted to help her. Awesome novel, Hongcha 866. Chapter 600. Xia Qian and Xiaoya were very loyal to their friends. Even Qing Su would stand up for her the first time when her family was in trouble and speak up for her. Friends were an indispensable part of life. After today's incident, she was even more determined not to listen to Jiang Zhao. She must have her own friends, true friends. She wore a black and gray knee-length coat with a mature design and color. She wore a pair of dark-colored trousers and 3 pairs of shoes in the shoe cabinet. Jiang Zhao had asked someone to bring them over. She chose a pair of black high-heeled boots and put on some light makeup. She touched the gauze on the back of her head and let her hair down. She fixed the belt of her coat in front of the mirror and straightened her back. She told Qing Su to have a good rest. Qing Su was young and liked to play. Although she did not want to play with the children of rich families, she did not want to play with the people she cared about. Yi was unwilling. Qing Su had injured her lungs and internal organs. She was not like her. In the end, when the doctors and nurses did not allow Qing Su to leave the hospital, they stopped Qing Su from acting rashly. The news of the mayor's affair was very shocking. So, under Xiaoya's guidance, Xia Qian used "the mayor's wife will give a one-sided response to this morning's news" as a gimmick. They found many reporters from various TV stations and within 30 minutes, all of them arrived at the College of Communication. Xia Qian said that they could not find such a big place elsewhere, so they found the college's auditorium. Yi Er immediately kissed Xia Qian a few times over the phone. When they arrived at the hospital, they called for a taxi. Xia Qian snorted and said, "Our deputy director wanted to take advantage of me, but I actually ignored him the whole time. He was about to go bald, and his head was shiny as if it was smeared with lard. However, my sister told me to seduce him, but I couldn't let him get close. I had to act coquettishly from a distance and ask him to borrow the auditorium. At first, I didn't want to go, but my sister said that if I couldn't do it, then I was useless. If I let that man take advantage of me, then I shouldn't work in the media industry anymore. She said that it was because the circle was dirty. In fact, a good-looking woman would attract dirty things in any circle. If she couldn't even deal with men, her career wouldn't be able to continue. You have to reap the benefits and not let the men take advantage of you. Only then can you survive in this circle. Because in the future, when you interview someone, the other party might want to touch you. It all depends on your own alertness. That's why I went to CEO, our vice president. Sai, I also know that my future path will be more difficult. I have to adapt to it first." After saying this, Xia Qian smiled shyly, but this shyness was a little unnatural. After listening for a while, Yi Er felt that the main point of such a long speech wasn't the deputy director's baldness, nor was it the deputy director's desire to take advantage of Xia Qian, nor was it Xiaoya teaching Xia Qian how to deal with men. Suddenly, she slapped her thigh and said, "Xia Qian, you said a few hundred words in a roundabout way just to tell me that I'm beautiful, right? Yi Er, you just figured it out? Shouldn't you have figured it out a long time ago?" Xia Qian immediately laughed out loud. "What are you laughing at? I'm not in the mood to laugh with you. I'm hanging up. Wait for me over there." The gray fog was getting lighter, and the sunlight was getting brighter and brighter. It was so bright that everything around them was getting clearer. In a fit of anger, Yi Er had asked Xia Qian to help organize a press conference. Indeed, she didn't know the industry, and other than Xia Qian, no one else could do this. At this time, sitting in the taxi, the windows were tightly shut, and the air conditioner was on. If it was in the past, it would definitely make people sleepy. But now, she pressed down the window, allowing the cold air to rush in unscrupulously through the window and into her exposed pores. 20 years old. She was going to be 20 years old soon. But she was not a child. She told herself several times in her heart, "Yunyi, you are no longer a child. You have not been a child since you were 17 years old. You are an older sister, a father, and a mother. Now, you are even more so. You are already a wife, and you are not an ordinary wife. Your man is not an ordinary man. Don't be like a shrew. Although you are a down-and-out daughter, you must remember the taboos of decency. Don't forget everything in a fit of passion." The driver in the front seat couldn't see Yi Er's face clearly. He saw that she was wearing a hat and a scarf pulled up high, only revealing her eyes. He thought that she was a young lady who was afraid of the cold. But he couldn't say anything because the passenger seemed to be thinking about something. He silently turned off the air conditioner in the car. The cold wind blew in, and Yi Er breathed in the air through her nose. One moment, it felt fresh, and the next, it smelled bad. Yun Hongwei finally called. Yi Er knew that her family would know about this. It was only a matter of time. She picked up. "Dad." Yi Er felt that she should at least pretend to be calm. Yi Er, even though Yun Hongwei was a man, after seeing that his daughter's marriage was not happy, he couldn't help but choke up. Just as he expected, his daughter was not happy. She had only been married for a short while, and her husband was already fooling around with the Qing dynasty. Not to mention Yi Er, even he felt depressed when he saw those things. Yi Er straightened her back and sat up straight. This way, her voice would sound more confident. Yi Er had a maturity that didn't match her age. Perhaps she was used to comforting her younger brother, but when it came to comforting her father, it was easy. Her gaze shifted to the front seat and glanced at the driver. Then she turned her head again and stared out the window. "Dad, I'm outside right now, so it's not convenient for me to explain it to you. But I believe in him, so you have to believe in him too. We both know the ways of this industry. Can you be more rational?" Dad is just sad." "Why are you, Dad? It's all a misunderstanding. We will resolve this matter. Don't worry about it. Don't forget to pick up Sijia in the afternoon." Yun Hongwei didn't say anything else. He worriedly said, "Okay." Hung up the phone and turned it off. She didn't want to be questioned anymore. She was annoyed enough. She let out a long sigh. The car drove faster, and the wind hit her face hard. The white gas she exhaled disappeared instantly. Jiang Zhao frowned when he received a call from Zhuang Yichen. Had hung up on him and was feeling depressed. He sat in the car in a daze and didn't drive out of the parking lot. When Zhuang Yichen called, it interrupted his train of thought. He realized that he had really given up on himself for a short period of time. But it was only temporary. This psychological hint passed very quickly. Zhuang Yichen said, "Brother Zhao, congratulations. Mrs. Jiang got Xia Qian to set up a press conference. It's going to be held in the auditorium of University City's Media College. She's already there." Jiang Zhao's eyes suddenly widened. "Press conference? What's that?" "Yeah, I just found out that Xia Qian got her." "Brother Zhao, it's not that I want to criticize you, but you shouldn't have schemed against me back then. You even wanted to use Xia Qian and Qiu Xiaoye to suppress me. How could that be possible? Now you're the one who got yourself into trouble, aren't you? Mrs. Jiang has finally found an ally. When these women are together, they're not easy to deal with at all." Zhuang Yichen felt that there was a banquet tonight, so he had to get Qiu Xiaoye to prepare a suit. Although she was the one who prepared the suit every time, he was still used to going there to try it on. He was used to watching her pick up the lapels one by one and compare them to his chest before saying, "This color is not bad. The texture matches the material of the suit very well." In the end, he accidentally heard Xia Qian reporting the good news. He didn't want to listen in, but Qiu Xiaoye sneaked into the inner office to answer the call. She was getting more and more daring. What phone call couldn't he listen in on? He knew everything about her family. Could it be Kang Yun? Did she think that just because she slept with him last night, she could have a foot in both camps today? He walked into her office openly and heard her say, "That's how it should be. Good job. I wish you all the best. Be careful and look for me if you need anything." When she saw him enter, she immediately hung up. After a long interrogation on the table, she finally told him the truth. Jiang Zhao's head was about to explode. Why didn't she discuss it with him? What the hell was she up to? He quickly said, "Okay. I'll hang up first. I'll contact you later." After hanging up, he immediately called Yi. Unexpectedly, Yi's phone was turned off. Jiang Zhao rubbed his face. Yes, Zhuang Yichen said that she went to the auditorium of the College of Communication in University City. He started the car. The hypnosis from just now quickly passed. He was now very worried that Yi would mess everything up. He was very worried that she would hold a press conference for no reason and push their marriage to an irreversible cliff. He called Lu Cheng and gave him some instructions before driving to the University City. Boys of Yunwa's age rarely liked to read newspapers as much as he did. After the heart transplant, he would look for books to read whenever he had nothing to do. Whether it was newspapers or magazines, he would use them to pass the time. The footsteps on the treadmill in the gym were fast and steady. Nu was bare-chested and only wore a pair of underwear. Sweat flowed down his seductive figure and wet the waistband of his pants. The speed of the treadmill gradually slowed down as he stepped on the rubber track. He let out a long breath and got off the treadmill. He took a towel from the helper and wiped the sweat off his face before entering the bathroom. Unruly came out of the bathroom. Although his hair was still wet and dripping with water, he was obviously much more refreshed now. He wore white home clothes and looked indifferent, as if he was untainted by the world. He left the gym and went to the dining room. Enchanting was not there yet. There was breakfast and newspapers on the dining table. This was Enchanting's habit. He liked to read the newspaper during breakfast, while Unruly liked to read it after breakfast. But today was an exception. The big black words and photos on the front page were too attractive. Just a slight glance was enough to attract his attention. He grabbed the newspaper and quickly opened it. He didn't know if he should be happy or unhappy at this moment. Jiang Zhao cared about someone else. If things got out of hand, wouldn't they be able to get a divorce? Deep down, he had always thought that Jiang Zhao had feelings for Yi Er. Otherwise, why would he care so much about his existence? When Yi Er was in trouble, Jiang Zhao was worried. He guarded her every day and didn't let him go to see her. He had always thought that Jiang Zhao was a strong opponent who blocked his path. But now, Jiang Zhao wanted to eat from the bowl while looking at the pot? Or was he just fighting for the sake of fighting? But how could a person like Jiang Zhao be so easily caught by others? If he wanted to keep a woman, did he need to keep her in his own apartment? And everyone knew that Jiang Zhao lived there? Awesome novel, Hongcha 866. Chapter 601. He took out his phone and dialed Yi Er's number. She said her phone was switched off. Did she see the newspapers? Yu stood up from his seat and quickly walked back to the villa. He went upstairs to his room, changed out of his home clothes, and put on his outdoor clothes. He draped his coat over his arm and got into the car. He started the car and drove towards the private hospital Yi Er was staying at. Yi Er arrived at the auditorium of the media college. Actually, Xia Qian only wanted to invite the reporters. But the front row of the auditorium was filled with reporters. The back and the second floor were filled with students who had heard about the news. It was crowded outside. The handsome mayor's influence was so high. Yi Er stood outside the auditorium and was shocked when she saw so many people. She suddenly felt nervous. She had never seen such a scene before. She wanted to escape. She did not expect there to be so many people. Weren't they all reporters? But can she escape? The invitation was sent under her name. If she did not go, what would happen to Xia Qian? If she admitted that she sent the invitation and did not go, she would be going back on her words. If she denied it, Xia Qian would become the target of public criticism. Luckily, she was wrapped tightly in her jacket. Other than thinking she was slightly taller, no one noticed her. She switched on her phone and called Xia Qian before she saw the incoming message. Qian, I'm here. Where are you? Xia Qian asked. I'm at the flower bed opposite the auditorium. There are too many people there. I'm afraid I can't hear you calling. Yi Er turned around and went to look for Xia Qian. Xia Qian's clothes were very white. In Xia Qian's words, a hard-working girl like her had to choose clothes that were dirty. Yi Er saw Xia Qian in a dirty black down jacket. She waved at her. Turn around. I'm at the fountain. Xia Qian turned around. Yi Er was waving at her from the fountain outside the auditorium. They hung up the phone. You're so fast. Have you thought of what to say? Xia Qian held onto Yi Er's arm. Yi Er was wearing high heels today and was taller than her. Once again, she hated genetics. Why were there so many people who could mutate, but it was so difficult for her to mutate? I haven't decided yet. I'm a little scared to go. Yi Er stopped timidly and turned around to look at Xia Qian. Xia Qian thought to herself, you're not my boyfriend, so why should I look up to you? Damn it. Don't you know how to wear heels when you come looking for me today? Since he was so tall, why was he standing here instead of being an electric pole? Thinking about it was one thing, but he couldn't say it out loud. Idiots weren't stupid. What's wrong with you? You asked me to find someone to hold a press conference for you. Haven't you thought of what to say? Yunyi, are you trying to kill me? I haven't even graduated yet. How am I going to survive in this industry in the future? Let me tell you, if you let what happened today affect my future employment, you have to compensate me immediately. Otherwise, I won't let you off. How will it affect your future employment? Yi felt that she should relax a little and talk about something else. She didn't pull down the scarf around her face. She felt that the fabric around her mouth was a little damp after she spoke. Think about it. I'm from the School of Communication. Today, these people are all trying to pull strings with my classmates. Even the teachers and the head of the school are saying that Xia Qian dug up the news and that I'm going to be famous. But you're telling me, but now, they're saying that I don't dare to go. You want me to take my diploma and go to the television station to look for a job? Do you think they'll hire someone like me, who's so dumb, to be a news anchor? You know that you're dumb, but you still want to be a news anchor? You're asking for a beating. Xia Qian said fiercely. Although she said that, she knew that Yi was afraid. She had always thought of herself as an older sister. As an older sister, she had to be as capable as her older sister and be able to protect her younger sister. Yi, let me tell you, don't be afraid later. You just have to deal with that adulterous couple. You're the victim. If you get a divorce, you'll get a lot of money. When Xia Qian saw the newspaper, she was furious. How could Jiang Zhao not treat Yi as his wife? How was he going to continue living like this? The newspaper said that he and Ouyang Yan had a deep relationship. If Jiang Zhao got together with that despicable Ouyang Yan in the future and transferred their assets, Yi would be the one to lose out. Divorce was always a woman's loss. Not to mention the relationship, if she was labeled as a divorcee, it would be different for her to find a husband in the future. It didn't matter if men got divorced. This was no longer considered news in the media industry. So the best way was to get the money that she deserved. She was even consulting Yi with her lawyer. She was determined not to lose to that adulterous couple. Yi was taken aback. What? Divorce? No, she wasn't here to get a divorce. What did Xia Qian want? Did she want her to get a divorce because of this news? I don't want a divorce. I won't get a divorce. Qian, I'm not holding this press conference to get a divorce. I'm trying to save this marriage. Are you mistaken? Yi eyes peeked out from under the scarf. Her voice wasn't loud because she was suppressing the urge to shout, but her eyes were slightly red. She had been red the entire time. She was nervous, guilty, and fearful. She wanted to fight for it, but she was afraid that Ouyang Yan would beat her back. This forced her to turn red. You don't want a divorce? You've seen them in this state and you still don't want a divorce? Yi don't say that I look down on you. Jiang Zhao's family background is not bad, but you can't ruin your life for his family background. How old are you? You have a future ahead of you. What if he's sleeping in the same bed as you and running to another woman? What if you're old? What will you do? Qian, he didn't. I was there both times. I don't know why, but I have a feeling that someone is trying to mess with him. Really? Why would I lie to you? Xia Qian looked seriously into Yi's eyes. She wasn't good at reading people's minds. Most of the time, her reactions were a little slow and she would come up with some fallacious reasoning. That was why many of her classmates had signed internships, but she couldn't. After looking at Yi for a long time, she still couldn't understand what her eyes meant. She felt that this woman was so anxious that she was about to cry. Forget it. You're my friend. You can do whatever you want. Anyway, I'll support you no matter what you do. Xia Qian pulled Yi Er away from the crowd and went around to the back door. They entered the auditorium from the back door. Did you discuss this with Jiang Zhao before you held the press conference? No. She wasn't going to discuss it with him. He probably wanted this matter to blow up. She wanted to be the first to act and cut off these people's escape route. Xia Qian once again pulled Yi Er back. Oh my God, Yunyi, are you trying to play me to death? I'm done playing. I feel like my future is going to be ruined because of you. I don't care. I can't get a divorce anyway. Yi Er's scalp hardened. She tore off her scarf, wrapped it tightly around herself, and stuffed it into her big bag. She took out her phone, and her face appeared on the black screen. She used the screen to tidy her hair. She was supposed to tie her hair up today to look more energetic, but there was a bandage on the back of her head. She had to let her hair down and wear a hat to cover it. Xia Qian sighed. Yunyi, you can take my place in the future. I'm not as stupid as you. You're the stupidest woman. Yi Er rolled her eyes at Xia Qian. I'm already worthy of my ancestors by being a stupidest woman. I'm already worthy of you by not being crazy. Xia Qian was stunned. Okay. I won't talk about you anymore. Go. I'll protect you. She then patted her chest. Yi Er looked at her coldly. Stop it. If you take any more pictures, you'll lose all your A's. Xia Qian was about to curse when Yi Er turned around and walked towards the podium from backstage. The stairs were covered with an old red carpet. The texture was not good, and it was only used to prevent slipperiness. When one stepped on it, it felt as if they were not stepping on solid ground. One could hear someone checking the microphone, and the sound of tapping echoed. There were also sharp screams in the air. Lifting the dark red velvet curtain of the side door, the auditorium was as bright as the sky. Yi Er took a deep breath. The sound of the camera shutters was like a thunderstorm. In an instant, the camera flashes came crashing down on her like lightning. Yi Er knew that she had no way out. The front was flat and open, and the lights were brilliant. Although there was a red carpet behind her, there were stairs at every step. It was dark and dangerous. So, she had no choice but to move forward or retreat. Everyone yearned for a better life. A better life. Although there was pain, there was calculation, there was exploitation, and there was no other choice. But what he gave her was stability, happiness, warmth, and a complete family. Yi Er's mouth slowly widened. She knew that her expression, her gaze, and her actions were all criticized. So, she was Mrs. Jiang. She had to be able to make people speechless in front of everyone. She had an outstanding husband. Her husband was her role model. She thought about the scene when she chased the robbers into a dead end. He had descended like a god to save her and protect her. She had clung to him like a little Pekingese and begged him to take her back to the rundown neighborhood. He and she were enemies, but he was willing to let go of their former enmity and carry her upstairs because of the injury on her foot. She felt that he had always been kind, and she was the one who was too vicious. He had saved her from Zhuang Yichen and hid her in his apartment. He had saved her from the car that was about to hit her and sent her back. He did not want to have anything to do with her. She had repaid kindness with ingratitude. She had schemed, used, and snatched the position of Mrs. Jiang from the woman he loved deeply. In fact, other than not loving her, he had always been good to her. Not many women could live a stable life like her. Jiang Zhao had been very good to her, very good. Thinking about this, the corners of her mouth widened. Her eyes were filled with gentle and happy ripples. The camera shutters captured the beauty of the woman with the red curtains. It was as if she could feel the first ray of light at dawn. Yi Er stepped forward with a smile on her face. She walked gracefully to the podium in the middle of the rostrum. Listening to the chaotic sound of the camera shutters, Yi Er recited Jiang Zhao's name to calm herself down. Yi Er patted the microphone, and it rang twice. Yi Er adjusted her hat and tried to speak slowly so that she would appear more elegant and worthy of her husband, Jiang Zhao. She only spoke with her own unique sense of humor, not allowing herself to appear overly reserved. "Hello, everyone." After a simple opening speech, Yi Er politely nodded to the audience. The sound of the camera shutters became more intense for a short while. Jiang Zhao held his phone and heard his wife's voice. "Hello, everyone. I'm Yi Er, Jiang Zhao's wife. You can call me Mrs. Jiang. My friends from the media, please take prettier photos of me." However, digital cameras don't waste film. You can choose prettier photos and publish them to satisfy my vanity, which is a love for beauty. Yi Er's eyes flashed with a bright light. Her eyes curved with a teasing smile. Even the monotonous tone of her voice changed slightly. But tomorrow's headlines don't have Mrs. Jiang's vanity to the extreme. Then I'll remember the names of the reporters and editors in the newspaper. Then I'll find your children and ask them, "Darling, do your parents always lie to you?" Welfare, Hongcha 866. Chapter 602. After Yi Er finished speaking, the audience burst into laughter. No one expected the deputy mayor's wife to be so humorous. She does not sound like someone from a political family. Someone asked impatiently. "Madam Mayor, how do you want to respond to today's newspaper?" The podium was a little high, so some people had to place a stool under it. However, Yi Er was tall, and she was wearing high heels. So even if she placed her hands on the table, she could still straighten her back. Looking at the reporter who asked the question, Yi Er nodded her head and smiled. This beautiful lady seems to be in a hurry to ask this question. Everything I'm saying right now is a response to your question. But my brain and logical thinking are not as good as my husband's, and my organization is not as clear as his. You can't ask me the same way you ask him. Although I don't expect you to tolerate my shortcomings like my husband, don't rush me, or my brain will short-circuit. Yi Er skillfully praised Jiang Zhao and used Jiang Zhao's love for her in her speech. She also used a humorous way to express it. The audience burst into laughter again. Also, I need to correct the beautiful Mrs. Mayor. The current mayor of Haicheng is Mayor Chen. My husband is only the deputy mayor. You should call me Mrs. Jiang. Jiang Yuning said. Yi Er's eyes brightened up when she heard the laughter from the audience. She continued, I am not here today to use my husband's title and the title of Madam to respond to today's newspaper. I am here as Jiang Zhao's wife. The person mentioned in this press conference is not a deputy mayor. He is only my husband. Yi Er did not dare to clench her hands together on the table to relieve her nervousness. She could only put her hands together in a seemingly relaxed manner, because she knew that other than the audience, there were also countless cameras on the surrounding 2 floors. Just as Yi Er paused and was about to catch her breath, another reporter asked, What's the matter? How will Mrs. Jiang respond to today's newspaper? Sigh. Yi Er smiled and sighed. This handsome guy seems to be very anxious. You can change your seat and sit next to that anxious beauty. Maybe you will have a lot to talk about. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. The audience laughed. Yi Er touched her hat and did not answer the reporter's question. Actually, I shouldn't wear a hat on stage today. Last night, I came back from Chengbei apartment and caught a cold. The wind is strong today, and I am afraid I will catch a cold. Mrs. Jiang, did you say that you went to Ouyang Yan's house with the deputy mayor last night? A reporter grasped the main point and asked anxiously. I had said before. Don't mention the deputy mayor. Next time, please use this question. Mrs. Jiang, are you saying that you and Mr. Jiang Zhao went to Ouyang Yan's house last night? Or Mrs. Jiang, are you saying that you and Mr. Ouyang Yan went to Ouyang Yan's house last night? I will answer these two questions. I will not answer other questions because this is my family's business. Behind closed doors, I only have Jiang Zhao in my house. There is no Deputy Mayor Jiang. I had said before that this is my personal behavior. Now, my husband and I are just ordinary people. Do you understand? Some of the reporters laughed and jeered when they heard the word dear. Understood. Ye smiled and said, all right, then please ask your reporter friends who understand. Mrs. Jiang, are you saying that you and Jiang Zhao went to Ouyang Yan's house last night? A reporter asked Ye with a cheeky smile. Ye felt much better now that a very serious press conference had turned out like this. Otherwise, she would be dead meat if she continued to use a very serious method to deal with these reporters. Because the more serious and tense the atmosphere was, the clearer the minds of these reporters would be, and the more unreasonable they would be. Dear, you are so considerate. You can understand everything so quickly. Happy working with you. Let me answer. Ye's reporter laughed and sat down. This mayor's wife is too funny. Ye said, actually, when I saw this newspaper this morning, I was thinking of a problem. I have to criticize it. The editor who wrote this newspaper is really not dedicated enough. I want to emphasize this matter here. People who work in the news and media are most afraid of not being able to endure hardships. They don't even have the willpower to stay a little longer to look for news. It's better not to do it. Last night, the three of us alighted from the car together. After that, I hit my head, and my husband rushed to bring me back to the hospital. The last time, I was also the one who left the apartment with my husband. But the editor said that he had left, and no one left. I feel that if there is no end to the report, it means that the reporter is immoral. People who are immoral will not be able to work in the media industry. At this time, Xia Qian brought a laptop to the stage and passed a USB flash drive to Ye. This is the CCTV footage from last night. It only shows the three of you alighting from the car together. Show it to me. Ye smiled and nodded. With Xia Qian's help, he connected the projector and played a short video. Although the video was from a distance, the car and the three of them could be seen clearly. It matched the scene in the photo. After the video ended, the video stopped. All of you can see the timing of this video. So, I will not say anything about the newspaper's response. Anyone with eyes can see how unprofessional the editor is. Ye unplugged the USB flash drive and passed it to Xia Qian. Thank you. Xia Qian walked off the stage coolly. She did not seem to have any relationship with Ye. I have another reason for coming here today, and that is to apologize to Miss Ouyang. Actually, I usually call her Sister Yan in private, but to make the apology more official, I will call her that. Ye appeared to be very sincere. His sincerity was so genuine that it could be mistaken for the real thing. I have nothing to do with Jiang Zhao. Our relationship is very good. I was present both times. We trust each other and there is no rift between us. However, the biggest victim of this incident is Miss Ouyang. She is not married yet. Reputation is very important to a woman. I don't know what the editor is trying to do by slandering her. When Miss Ouyang first returned to High City, she had to find a place to stay in the north of the city for work reasons. I was the one who offered the house to her. If you don't believe me, you can go and confront her. Miss Ouyang is a dignified woman. Everyone in High City knows that. I think it is too much for her to be criticized just because she was in a relationship in university. Everyone here has gone to university. Why don't you do a spot check now? How many of you did not break up? Could it be that because they had broken up, their relationship with their current lover was not good? If you are, then stand up bravely and argue with me. Record this argument well and put it on the internet so that more people can watch. Yi Er's tone was full of humor and did not sound like she was criticizing anyone. Using her tone, the atmosphere was so relaxed that it did not feel like a woman who was holding a press conference because of a mistress. The audience laughed. Who would be stupid enough to stand up and say that their ex was better than the current one? You still want to argue? If they had a boyfriend or girlfriend in the future, the explanation would be a cover-up. When Jiang Zhao and I got married, Jiang Zhao was already 29 years old. I feel that it is normal for a 29-year-old man to have a relationship. I feel that he does not need to be responsible for his past relationships. What do you think? But he is the deputy mayor. He is not an ordinary person. Someone was finding fault with Yi Er. Yi Er narrowed her eyes slightly. Her tone was still gentle and slow, but it felt like there was a knife hidden behind her smile. But you are a reporter. People say that being a reporter is a sacred and noble profession. Your pen can kill and kill. With a wave of your pen, you can decide the happiness and unhappiness of others. Don't you think your status is higher than mine? Then shouldn't you be responsible for your past relationships? After Yi Er finished speaking, she smiled at the reporters in a very friendly manner. The reporter who asked the question was stunned. How did it become his responsibility? We are going to ask about Deputy Mayor Jiang. He needs to give us an explanation. Handsome, you are too agitated. My husband is not Deputy Mayor Jiang when he was in university. He was in a relationship at that time. What did you do? Could it be that you know you will be the TV station chief in the future, and that's why you did not date in university? Ha ha ha. Ching Su, who was backstage, laughed. Yi Er was good at debating. The reporter was confused by Yi Er. What she wanted to ask was not the past. She wanted to ask about the present. Even if last night's incident was because the editor did not take the appropriate photos, what about the previous incident? Yi Er shrugged his shoulders. I was also there the previous time. There should be surveillance cameras in my neighborhood, and we went home together. You also know that the editor is not reliable. You would rather believe him than me. Even if you continue to question him, you will not get any results. Or are you saying that you are willing to believe an unreliable editor? You want to learn from him and create some unreliable news to entertain the public? Do you really want to be a reporter with this kind of quality? I don't think it's a good idea. The reporter took a deep breath. This was clearly not a press conference. What kind of nonsense was this? Just as he was about to question further, Yi Er ignored him and said seriously to the audience, my ability to organize my words is not very good. So in the end, I still want to take this opportunity to apologize to Miss Ouyang. Last time, because I was not at my new home, Miss Ouyang called me to inform me. I asked her to bring Jiang Zhao back to the apartment in the north of the city so that I could pick him up immediately. Yesterday, the three of us chatted together for a while, and then we sent Miss Ouyang back to the north of the city. In the end, we were misunderstood time and time again. I also hope that the editor who wrote this report will come forward. My husband and I can forget about it. I have said before that we trust each other and there are no cracks. But this editor should apologize to Miss Ouyang. As for the psychological damage and compensation, I also hope that Miss Ouyang can protect her own reputation and interests. Whether she is a civil servant or not, I feel that she should have the right to protect her own reputation. Otherwise, the next time an unethical editor wants to become famous, he will make groundless accusations without any legal responsibility. In a harmonious society, everyone is equal. Ad Shinwu 799. Chapter 603. When Ouyang Yan heard the audio link, she was so angry that her face turned uglier. What kind of bullshit apology was this? This person was trying to shift the blame of Jiang Zhao onto her. In the end, both of them were fine, and Ouyang Yan's reputation was ruined? Her reputation was ruined? She had to use the law to protect herself? This damn Yunyi. What a disgrace. She threw her earpiece on the floor and stepped on it. Jiang Zhao's car had stopped at the university, but he did not alight from the car. He did not want to miss the voice of the person talking on the phone. He also does not want to eavesdrop outside the car. Actually, he did not want to say anything about this incident. No one will dare to do anything about it. His father and grandfather will suppress this matter. Luckily, news about someone like him will not be broadcasted live. Today's news will not appear on the government's media, and it will not be broadcasted. Dong Xiaobing wanted to stop this, but he could not. The phone was switched off. After that, he called Xia Qian. Xia Qian told him that Yi Er did not want to get a divorce, and that was why she held this press conference. Dong Xiaobing immediately asked his men to check the CCTV footage from the north of the city. He was a political figure, and it was not suitable for him to hold a press conference to announce his past. But Yi Er did not know what was going on. But when Yi Er heard from Xia Qian's phone that there was only Jiang Zhao in the house and no Deputy Mayor Jiang, Dong Xiaobing felt his eyes sting. He felt bitter when he heard those words. She had approached him because he was the deputy mayor. But at this moment, Dong Xiaobing was willing to take her words as the truth. She said their relationship was good, and they trusted each other. She also said her husband was tolerant of her shortcomings. Dong Xiaobing thought to himself. Just let her be. If she were to create a mess, he would clean it up. Because of what she said, their relationship was good, and they trusted each other. Because of what Xia Qian said, Yi Er said she did not want to get a divorce. Sigh. Just let her be. Anyway, Dong Xiaobing had never spoiled her. Putting aside the sensitivity of his position, he felt that Yi Er was really cute when she was talking. Maybe being the mayor's wife had made her suppress her personality too much. She was not even 20 years old, and he felt sorry for her. Qin Zhen sat in Jiang Liqing's office with a cold face. Jiang Liqing poured a glass of water but didn't pass it to Qin Zhen. He just put it on the table and drank his own glass. Jiang Liqing. Qin Zhen hated it when Jiang Liqing was like this. He was usually like a raging lion, but as long as he was in front of her, he would be lukewarm, making her feel like she couldn't get angry. At the very least, they had to argue for a bit before they would get angry. What do you plan to do about Zhao Zhao? Jiang Liqing, on the other hand, was not in a hurry. The winter military uniform looked very thick and textured. For someone of his age, he looked tall and handsome. Of course, but you agreed to let him marry Yunyi, Qin Zhen was stunned. Was he trying to settle old scores with her? I didn't expect Yunyi to hold a press conference. I've already talked to the government media. This matter will not blow up in a month. Jiang Liqing still looked indifferent. Are you still a man? You don't even have any reaction when something like this happened to our son. Jiang Liqing raised his tiger-like eyes and looked at Qin Zhen without blinking. Could it be that he had misunderstood? Qin Zhen didn't like people who were gentle. She liked people who were hot-tempered. He had been suppressing his temper in front of her for so many years after their divorce. Was it easy for him? Then how do you want me to react? Jiang Liqing raised his voice and became fiercer. No one can control that brat now. How can you control him? As his mother, how can you control him? If you didn't go against me in the past, would he be able to marry Yunyi? It's all because you are muddle-headed that you agreed to this marriage. Qin Zhen was stunned. What? Jiang Liqing dared to scold her? Scolded her for being muddle-headed? Humph. I'm just afraid that our son will follow in your footsteps. If he ends up like you, being depressed for the rest of his life because the woman he likes got married, that's my son. Why should I not agree to it? Jiang Liqing wanted to explode when he heard Qin Zhen say this. What was the point of bringing up old scores? Who hadn't been young before? But Qin Zhen didn't like him being gentle. She said that he wasn't like a man, so she raised her voice. Then why are you talking about it now? You made the mistake, and you still have the cheek to come here and make a scene? You should be the one to clean up this mess. Qin Zhen's face turned pale. She couldn't stand Jiang Liqing suddenly speaking to her like this. Did he mean that she shouldn't have come to him? But he was Jiang Zhao's biological father. If she didn't come to him, who would he go to? She turned and grabbed her bag on the chair, opened the door and walked out. Jiang Liqing suddenly froze. Before he could finish scolding her, his ex-wife had run away. Wrong again? After Yi Er's press conference ended, Jiang Zhao told Xia Qian to let Yi Er take the call. Yi Er didn't seem to hear the questioning from the people below the stage. She elegantly lifted the curtains and left the backstage. As soon as she walked down the stairs, she fell weakly into Xia Qian's arms. Xia Qian was still on the phone with Jiang Zhao. She originally wanted Yi Er to take the call, but Yi Er almost fainted from being nervous for a long time. Xia Qian was so scared that she cried out, Yi Er, are you okay? Don't faint, I can't carry you. You're so tall, and I'm so delicate. Hey, even though we're backstage, aren't you afraid that someone will take photos? Hey, take care of your image, Yi Er. Hold on a little longer. Jiang Zhao got out of the car and slammed the door. He asked anxiously, Xia Qian, are you guys still backstage? It was noisy backstage. Xia Qian was holding the phone and hugging Yi Er's waist. She didn't hear Jiang Zhao at all. She slowly moved to the chair. After she put Yi Er down, she picked up the phone and placed it next to Yi Er's ear. Your husband is looking for you. Yi Er felt like she needed to take in 2 breaths of air. She was a little breathless. After hearing Xia Qian's words, she didn't dare to answer Jiang Zhao's call. She kept her head down, not knowing how Jiang Zhao would deal with her tonight. Until a pair of shiny black leather shoes appeared in front of her eyes. A pair of creased trousers wrapped around a pair of slender legs. She looked up and knew that she had provoked him. She exhaled, pouted, and opened her slender arms. Her pitiful eyes glistened with tears as she said in a pitiful voice, Husband, I'm scared. Hubby, I'm so scared. I'm still young, you can't hit me, what nonsense are you talking about? Jiang Zhao glanced at Xia Qian, who was standing next to him with her eyes wide open as if she wanted to question him. When did he hit her? Oh right, last time he hit Yi Er's but in front of Xia Qian, but he didn't have the tendency to be violent. Jiang Zhao's voice was cold. In front of Xia Qian, he really couldn't do anything intimate. He coughed dryly and said, Xia Qian, please go and see if the people outside have left. He handed over his car keys. Also, please drive my car that was parked under the locust tree to the back door. I'll take her back to the hospital first. Xia Qian said unhappily, oh. Although she felt that Jiang Zhao was wrong to hit Yi Er, she was a little afraid of Jiang Zhao because of the incident last time. At this time, she could only take the keys and leave angrily. After taking a few steps, she turned back and said to Yi Er, call me if you need anything. Yi Er said, go quickly. It's just a few steps. Why are you wasting money on the phone? Xia Qian rolled her eyes at Yi Er. You took my kindness for granted. She was just worried that Jiang Zhao would hit her. As soon as Xia Qian left, Jiang Zhao lifted his trousers and squatted in front of Yi Er. He reached out and rubbed her temples. Are you still dizzy? I'm not dizzy. Then why were you dizzy just now? Jiang Zhao helped Yi Er stand up. Yi Er felt a little more energized. I was scared just now. If you were scared, then why did you still do it? Jiang Zhao lightly slapped Yi Er's butt. Her butt was really bouncy. Yi Er stomped her foot. Jiang Zhao, you said you wouldn't hit me. Jiang Zhao shrugged. I didn't say that. So you sent Xia Qian away because you wanted to hit me. Jiang Zhao, I hate you to death. Jiang Zhao was stunned for a moment. He said angrily, if you love me to death, then I'd be surprised. I won't love you to death. I don't know either. When Unwu arrived at the hospital, the nurses refused to reveal where Yi Er had gone, so he went next door to look for Qing Su. Qing Su was sitting on the bed playing games. When she saw Unwu, she waved. Unwu, are you here to play again? Great, let's play games together. Unwu smiled gently. Lulu, why isn't Yi Er here today? Qing Su felt that Unwu was quite tactful. When she heard Yi Er call her Lulu, she followed suit. She went to the auditorium of the College of Communication in the university town to hold a press conference. Did you see the newspaper today? Yes, I saw it. Unwu continued to stand at the foot of Qing Su's bed. He did not walk over to watch her play games. Qing Su moved the mouse as she typed on the keyboard. Yeah, she cried when she saw it this morning. Then she went to look for her friend and held a press conference. She was there for quite a while. I wanted to go, but she wouldn't let me go. Unwu frowned. He adjusted his collar and was about to leave when he nodded and smiled. Yi Er did the right thing. You need to get some rest. You all seem to care about me. Qing Su felt quite conflicted. She wanted to talk to Unwu about Yi Er, but she couldn't do anything in the game. It wasn't that she didn't care about her friends, but the game was also very important. Unwu said, of course, we're all friends. It's only right that we care about each other. I just came over to take a look. Since you're fine, I'm going to work. Have a good rest. Okay, bye. Qing Su thought about it and decided to say goodbye. She didn't have the energy to deal with him now. After saying goodbye, she buried her head in the game. Unwu drove to the university town and stopped calling Yi Er's cell phone. If it was turned off, it wouldn't be turned back on so quickly. From the city center to the university town, they had to take the expressway bridge. In the middle of the bridge, there was a thick red and white striped partition. Yunwa's car was separated from the partition by the Audi coming from the opposite side. The wind brought up the fine dust and then floated in the world. The phone in the Qin family's house had been busy. Qin Rongfang didn't put down the phone after he answered it. After arguing for a whole morning, Mr. Jiang Zero called and his voice sounded like frying iron beans. Old bastard, how did my grandson become like this? What kind of grandfather are you? I told you not to stay in High City. You can't protect him, but you insisted. I tell you, once his term is up, I will find a way to get him back to Jiangzhou. You can't stop me. Qin Rongfang was actually anxious about Jiang Zhao's affairs, but he didn't want to be outdone. You're the old bastard. My grandson is very good. Nothing happened to him when you took care of him. People who achieve great things always have to have some troubles. I don't need you to care about me. Zhao Zhao is willing to stay in High City. It's useless even if it's your wishful thinking. I tell you, just take care of him at home. Even if you want to interfere in Zhao Zhao's affairs, I won't give you such a chance. You old bastard. So many things happened to my grandson this year. You're not qualified to be an elder. Add Hongcha 866. Chapter 604. Qin Rongfang had always liked to dress up like an immortal. If it was summer, he would hold a folding fan in his hand and wave it. The calligraphy on the folding fan had to be from a famous artist. He was very modest outside, but when he met Xizhentian and Old Master Jiang, his temper could not be stopped. This was because he always felt that he was at a disadvantage in front of Xizhentian and Old Master Jiang if he was polite. Those guys always said, "I'm a gangster," or "I'm here to fight the Japanese." If he did not act like one, he would be their son. Why do you care if I'm qualified or not? Don't meddle in my family's business. Don't talk about a scandal. Even if he was photographed kissing another woman, I can settle it. After saying that, he hung up with a "pia" sound. He took a few deep breaths. He would not give that old thing a chance to scold him back. His face flushed red. He took a sip of tea and the color slowly receded, returning to his normal complexion. Sitting by the phone, he thought for a while and called Jiang Liqing. Liqing. Hey, Dad. Jiang Liqing had been calling him Dad for more than 10 years after the divorce. Qin Rongfang never said anything and was happy about it. It was as if his daughter and son-in-law had not divorced. Liqing, I have something to discuss with you. Dad, go ahead. Yi Er's intentions are good. She was born in the Yun family, a wealthy family. Her family situation is different from ours. Qin Rongfang paused. Jiang Liqing immediately said, yes, Yi Er really did not consider today's matter. Qin Rongfang held the phone in one hand and held the lid of an old-fashioned teacup in the other. He gently slid the tea leaves on the surface of the water. Actually, you know that Zhao Zhao is outstanding. Not to mention his current position, his looks and figure are all things that women outside want to touch. What Qin Rongfang said was the truth. There were countless women in Jiang Zhao's unit who sent him autumn vegetables. It was not easy for him to remain chaste for so many years. Not to mention his family background. In the past few years, many families in Haicheng have been saying that they want to marry their daughters to our Zhao Zhao, right? Jiang Liqing agreed and said, yeah, Daddy is right. That girl from the Zheng family has a good family background, right? Our Zhao Zhao doesn't like her no matter what. Actually, her family Ouyang is quite good. She has been educated and reasonable since she was young. No one can say anything bad about her. She was once in a relationship with Zhao Zhao. Sigh, I also thought that Zhao Zhao wouldn't want that girl from the Yun family at that time. He's not someone who can't differentiate between current affairs and has his own ideas. But after getting married, he can't separate himself from the family Ouyang. I feel that, regardless of whether this is true or not, it can't be our Zhao Zhao's fault alone. Qin Rongfang said what he wanted to say. Jiang Liqing was stunned. Sure enough, the two old masters of the Jiang and Qin families were protective of their children. There were layers upon layers of hidden meaning in their words. Dad, what are you trying to say? Jiang Liqing was a little confused. Could it be that his father-in-law had called just to chat with him about his thoughts on this matter from the beginning to the end? That couldn't be, right? What I want to say is that Zhao Zhao is a good catch. There are many women who want to stick to him. We might encounter such situations again in the future. Yi Er has already done her best to suppress this press conference, but what she did was a little wrong. She was too reckless. But as you know, she's injured now, so it's difficult for me to communicate with others. Zhao Zhao is beside me, so I don't know how to express myself. But you're Yi Er's father-in-law, so it's easy to talk to her. You should tell her to be more careful in the future. After all, a family with a political background is different from a family with a business background. But you should watch your tone when you speak, in case Zhao Zhao accuses you of bullying that girl again. Recently, he's been very protective of that girl, so I can't be bothered to say anything. It's a novelty. Qin Rongfang finally finished expressing his thoughts. Jiang Liqing almost vomited blood. This was his father-in-law. After all the calculations, it was his fault. Ever since Yi Er was hit by the car, everyone had seen Jiang Zhao's attitude. In the past, Qingjin felt that her son had been snatched away and would get jealous easily. But now, she had restrained herself, afraid that she would make her son unhappy again. This father-in-law of his was quite accurate. He didn't let Qingjin scold people, but let him do it. What did this father-in-law say? That it was difficult to communicate? That he didn't know how to express himself? He felt that this father-in-law of his was quite good at expressing himself. He even knew how to tell him to watch his tone. Dad, I don't think there's a need for this. No matter how hot-tempered Jiang Liqing was and how much he wanted to scold Yi Er for what she did today, when he heard Qin Rongfang's request, he was enlightened. He had to learn from Qin Rongfang and not be the bad guy. After all, the press conference had already started. Even if he wanted to scold, he had to see his son's attitude first. If his son acted like it was nothing, he would endure it and talk about it next time. How can there not be a need? Qin Rongfang straightened his back and argued. What does Yi Er know? You must remind her. If something like this happens again in the future, will everyone hold a press conference? Will she be able to handle it? When the time comes, no one will remember the mayor's achievements, but there will be lots of scandals. Also, the moment she responds, she will stir up trouble again. As long as someone wants to create trouble for her, she will continue to stir up trouble. She should not have given those people a chance. Jiang Liqing had no way to refute. Okay. I will go and visit her tonight. Qin Rongfang happily replied. Good, good, good. Liqing, take care of yourself too. Jiang Liqing was speechless and laughed as he hung up the phone. Everyone wants to bully him. He still needs to perform well. Ouyang Yanfeng stomped on the earpiece, still unable to vent the anger in her heart. Yunyi had always been a sharp-tongued woman, she had always known that. She also knew that she loved to paint a picture of peace. Otherwise, when Yunyi saw her and Jiang Zhao hugging each other on their wedding day, she would definitely have fallen out with them. However, at that time, Yunyi acted as if nothing had happened and pulled Jiang Zhao away. This kind of ability was really not something that ordinary women could tolerate. In front of Jiang Zhao, Yunyi called her sister Yan affectionately. But behind Jiang Zhao's back, Yunyi was arrogant. She said the apartment belongs to her husband and she can move in whenever she wants. The last time she dragged Jiang Zhao away from Chengbei condominium was a stark contrast. What's more infuriating was that Yunyi even framed her. If Ouyang Yan wanted to prank someone, why would she need to push him away? This Yunyi was the best actress, but this woman was not even 20 years old. Where did she learn such wild tricks? Ouyang Yan felt that she was good at enduring. She wanted to quietly make Jiang Zhao and Yunyi divorce. They did not have a child, so she would not mind if Jiang Zhao divorced. But now, the situation was getting worse and worse. It had completely deviated from her original plan. This incident was supposed to agitate Yunyi, but now she was so agitated that she did not want the contents of today's press conference to be released. If it was released, how would she be able to face others? She was willing to be a third party and go out to meet people. At least people would acknowledge her relationship with Jiang Zhao. Now, she was the joke of Haicheng. Yunyi even stood up for her and said something about being dignified. What did she mean? Couldn't Ouyang Yan have something to do with Jiang Zhao? The reporter who wrote the report did not even have to apologize to Yunyi and Jiang Zhao. How generous, how magnanimous, how open-minded a mayor's wife should be. But Miss Ouyang was innocent. The editor who wrote the report should apologize to Miss Ouyang, who had a dignified character. Bastard! She originally wanted to reply with some ambiguous words, but she was blocked by this damned Yunyi. Ouyang Yan's phone rang, but she did not hear it. After a few times, she picked up in a panic. Grandpa. The old man's voice on the phone was kind and dignified. Yun, are you satisfied with this matter? Grandpa has helped you as much as I can, but you're too late. You should have come out before Yinyi came out. Now she has everything to say. The Jiang family and the Qin family have already informed the media. The contents of today's press conference will not be broadcasted on the official media, but there will definitely be a video on the internet. If you come out again, will it be of any use? Grandpa. Ouyang Yen slowly squatted on the ground. Her head was between her knees. She covered her mouth and cried helplessly. Grandpa, what should I do? What should I do? I've only liked one man in my life. Grandpa, Jiang Zhao lied to me. He said he would wait for me. He said he would wait for me, so I left Haicheng to experience life. But when I came back, he got married. Grandpa, he lied to me. I've never been in a relationship outside, and he married another woman. He lied to me, he lied to me. Yun Yun, don't cry. The old man sighed. Grandpa spoils you too much. You're just short of the moon and the stars. Grandpa has already scolded you for doing this, but it's useless. Grandpa just can't change your mind. But the Jiang family can't be compared to other families. We've been friends for generations. Yun, it's not ancient times now. You still have to marry the elder and the younger generation. But Grandpa, he shouldn't have lied to me. If he hadn't said that, I wouldn't have believed him. I would have either left and wouldn't miss him, or I wouldn't have left. He lied to me. Grandpa, I think there's no meaning in living at all. He lied to me like this. Ouyang Yen collapsed weakly on the ground and curled up. Her outer shell had been torn apart, and she couldn't be dignified and reserved anymore. Yun. The old man's voice suddenly deepened. Yun. You're not allowed to do anything stupid. Grandpa will think of a way. Grandpa, you can't not help me. You brought me up single-handedly. Grandpa, if you don't help me, I'll really have no one to rely on. Jiang Zhao helped Yi Er back to the hospital. Yi Er didn't dare to offend Jiang Zhao, so she didn't say a word throughout the journey. Jiang Zhao kept thinking about the minor details of the matter. He didn't mean to ignore Yi Er, but Yi Er felt that Jiang Zhao was angry with her. She curled up in a corner and didn't dare to act rashly. Take a rest. If you're free, go and play with Qing Su. I'm going to work, Jiang Zhao said anxiously as he prepared to leave after settling Yi Er on the bed. Yi Er sighed. Okay, I know. When Jiang Zhao was about to leave, Yi Er stopped him. Ah Zhao, you're angry with me, aren't you? You can tell that I'm angry. Jiang Zhao stopped in his tracks and happened to walk to the wardrobe in the corridor. He looked at himself in the mirror and tidied up his appearance. I'm not blind. You never discuss anything with me, Jiang Zhao said reproachfully as he turned around. How could I not discuss it with you? I asked you to look for Ouyang Yen, but you refused. So you hung up on me? So you went to look for Xia Qian to hold a press conference? So you had the guts to turn off your phone? Jiang Zhao didn't want to argue, but for some reason, the two of them became more serious as they spoke. She didn't treat him as her husband at all and acted on her own accord. He was the head of the household. Since when did she have the right to make decisions? Even though he was soft-hearted and allowed her to finish her sentence, her starting point was wrong. He didn't pursue the matter with her, but she started to blame him. Jiang Zhao, you're so annoying. So annoying. Yi Er punched the bed angrily. This man was so annoying when he was being fierce to her. Of course you hate me. Don't tell me you like me. Jiang Zhao remembered that he had said something similar when she said she hated him. Now that he said it again, he felt like he had to get to the bottom of this. I don't like you. You bastard. You only know how to be fierce to me. You're simply a bastard. Jiang Zhao smiled and raised his handsome eyebrows. He was pleased with himself and looked like he wanted to anger the little hussy who was yelling at him. That's great. I don't like you at all either. Look at you, you're just like a little shrew. Oh, Yang Yan isn't a shrew, Yi Er said angrily. That's right. Of course she's not a shrew. Do you even need to ask? Can't you tell? Just as Jiang Zhao was wondering if Yi Er was jealous, Yi Er harumphed. Unwu isn't a bastard either. He's much more gentlemanly than you. People like you who don't know how to respect women should be taught a lesson. Jiang Zhao's face instantly darkened. What did you say? Yi Er was angry that Jiang Zhao was still protecting Ouyang Yan when they were together. Can't you tell? A handsome young man like Unwu is a true gentleman. Handsome young man? Jiang Zhao was so mad that he wanted to smash something. She said that she wasn't in the mood to go to work, but why did she have to King talk about Shi Unwu again? She was still thinking about him all the time. She felt upset whenever she didn't mention him. Young man? Handsome young man? When he thought about how Shi Unwu was about the same age as Yi Er, Jiang Zhao was furious. Yi Er sat on the edge of the bed and stood up. She thought about how she was afraid that the D***MN Ouyang Yan would beat her to it. She had fought so hard to protect her marriage, and she was still injured. Was it easy for her? In the end, her husband thought that she was a shrew. A mistress is better. A mistress is gentle like water. Bah! Isn't that right? Unwu is better looking than that Yunyun of yours, isn't he? What's so good about that Yunyun of yours? Isn't she just good at pretending? What's so great about that? She's such a vicious woman. You treat her like a treasure. Is she as kind as Unwu? Jiang Zhao really had the urge to resort to domestic violence. If she hadn't just recovered from her serious injuries, if she hadn't just recovered from her old injuries yesterday, and if she hadn't fainted from exhaustion backstage today, he would have beaten her up today. Really, this woman was clearly asking for a beating. Jiang Zhao suppressed his anger, but when he saw Yi Er raise her chin and act like she was in the right, he couldn't suppress his anger anymore. He rushed over and grabbed Yi Er's shoulders, pushed her back, and pressed her onto the bed. Yi Er reached out to hit him. Jiang Zhao. What are you trying to do? Jiang Zhao didn't even take off his shoes. He put his knees on the bed, raised his leg, and straddled Yi Er. Damn D***MN wretched girl. I'm going to teach you a lesson today until you can't call out Shi Yunwu's name. Beauty Novel, Song Shu 566. Chapter 605. Jiang Zhao felt that he needed to stuff Yi Er's mouth with cotton wool so that she couldn't scream. This woman always had the ability to drive him crazy. If he continued to go along with her, he was afraid that he would be angered to death by her. There would always be the smell of disinfectant in the hospital. This smell was like gunpowder when it entered his nostrils. Shi Yunwu was a handsome young man. Handsome? She dared to say that another man was handsome in front of him. This wasn't the first time she had been so bold. It wasn't enough to praise his beauty, she even praised his kindness. Jiang Zhao. You're going to bite me again, aren't you? Are you jealous? Jealous that I think Unwu is handsome. When I say that Unwu is kind and nice, you're jealous. You like me, don't you? You're in love with me, aren't you? Yi Er raised her small chin. Her lower jaw was clenched, and her small mouth was slightly open. Her pink lips were also bent, and the smile on her face spread all the way to the corners of her eyes. Jiang Zhao exhaled. This little hussy, just forget about this, right? Wait for this, right? You? Look at you, this little shrew. What's there for me to like? All you do is cause trouble for me. What's there for me to like you and fall in love with you? Why, are you crazy for me to fall in love with you? Even in your dreams, right? Jiang Zhao also learned from Yi Er and smiled. When he smiled, he was fighting a psychological battle with the other party. Humph, the woman's eyes were dark like two marbles under the light. Yes, even in my dreams, I'm waiting for you to fall in love with me. If you fall in love with me, I'll win. It's a pity, Yunyi, you'll never win in this lifetime. The man's silhouette seemed to have been carved. His handsome face was clearly overflowing with the morning sun. At that moment, the beautiful scene made one's heart palpitate. The stars in his eyes were sparse, but the flowing light was exceptionally dazzling. Yi Er was arguing non-stop a second ago, but in the next second, she was seduced by his beauty. The man's forced lips were mesmerizing. She couldn't win. He was hers. She could spend the rest of her life with him. Did he dare to say that she couldn't win? Was he the heavenly emperor? She turned her head and bit the back of the man's hand. The man cried out in pain, Yunyi. Are you a dog? In the next second, a thin and soft tongue wrapped around the man's hand and sucked slowly. The big hand that was pressing down on the woman's other shoulder loosened slightly. He stared blankly as the woman slowly licked the place she had just bitten. This little thing. She always used such vulgar methods to shut him up. But he always enjoyed it. There was no pressure on Yi Er's shoulder, and her body was still being straddled by Jiang Zhao. She ignored him and raised her hand to hold Jiang Zhao's hand. She opened it up and brought it closer to her mouth so that she could enjoy it slowly. Touching the man's palm, her fingertips touched his career line, his relationship line, and his lifeline. It was said that the lines on one's hand would change. The clear and deep relationship line in his palm, where it was broken, would the end of it become clear and deep because of her? The soft touch in his palm and the soft wet kiss on his hand. Jiang Zhaogang said, Yun, Yi Er interrupted, hubby, does it still hurt? Jiang Zhao sighed softly. Why was he still in pain? This woman. She really made him love and hate her. He froze and forgot that he still had to go to the restaurant. Someone had stolen half a day of leisure. He had stolen half a day of joy in the morning. He leaned over and hugged the woman with his long arms. He lay down on his side and faced her. If I continue to be tormented by you, I won't go to work. How can that do? If you don't go to work, what am I going to eat? Then why are you still making a fuss? Then give me a kiss and I won't make a fuss. Yi Er pouted. Jiang Zhao had no choice. He grabbed her chin and kissed her lightly. He really didn't dare to kiss her deeply. She was just taking the initiative to get close to him for a moment, and he had the urge to indulge. But it was too late. He had to go to the restaurant quickly. There must be a lot of things to do today. Yi Er said, hubby, I'm almost done. I want to be discharged and go back to school. Go back to school when the injury on your head is better. Actually, hubby, I don't want to study accounting. Oh? I want to learn to dance. Yi Er lowered her head. She loved Jiang Zhao, and she had thought of giving up her hobbies for him. She could learn accounting, but dancing didn't have to go to a specialized school. Alright, I'll continue to take the exam for that major. But can I learn to dance in my spare time? What for? Jiang Zhao said. His hand was still grabbed by Yi Er. At this moment, he pulled her closer to his mouth and kissed her. Dancing at your age in elementary school is good. You have a better figure and a better temperament. You're not going to develop in that direction, so why do you still want to learn that? Besides, I don't want you to develop in that direction. No matter how good your wife's figure is, no matter how good she looks when she twists, you can't just wear a few pieces of fabric and dance in front of thousands of people. You haven't seen those dances on TV. Once you lift your leg, you'll be exposed. Although you can wear some clothes to prevent exposure, when it comes to my wife, I feel very strange. I don't agree. Yi Er let out a huff and deflated. Jiang Zhao's thinking was very old-fashioned. Really, he couldn't keep up with the trends at all. He was just like the old men in ancient times. He was very bad. How could dancing on the stage in front of thousands of people be considered as twists? Besides, what was he looking at? Was he looking to see if she was exposed? This guy's thinking was too unhealthy. Was it old-fashioned or fashionable? That was art. Did he know anything about art? It seemed like she didn't know much about art either. It was just like how Unwu said she couldn't appreciate his paintings. Yi Er could only take a step back. She didn't know when she would be able to enlighten this fossil. Then people say that dancing can train the body. Can you let me train my body? Sure. I agree with this. If you don't train well, you won't be able to feed me. Jiang Zhao's hand subconsciously went under Yi Er's clothes to her chest and pinched it. Hey! Yi Er was slightly annoyed, but she wasn't annoyed by Jiang Zhao's actions. She liked the feeling of being held in his arms. The two of them were lying on their sides facing each other. At this moment, Yi Er lifted one leg and placed it on Jiang Zhao's waist. Really? Yes, I agree. Really? His large hand trailed down her chest to her waist, gently and heavily rubbing it slowly. When you're discharged from the hospital, you can go anywhere you want to learn. Hubby, actually, I want to open my own dance studio. Is that okay? Yi Er felt that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. What exactly do you want? The man was more rational than Yi Er imagined. He tightened his grip, causing Yi Er to frown. You want to take a mile after taking an inch, don't you? Hubby, are you worried about the money? I've asked around. It doesn't cost much to open a dance studio. At most, I'll pay you back when I earn money in the future. Yi Er thought that it was already painful. If she didn't continue talking, it would be for nothing. What nonsense are you talking about? Do I look like I'm worried about money? Jiang Zhao's face turned green. The most infuriating thing was her last sentence. She would pay him back when she earned money in the future? He still wanted her to pay back the money he spent for her? What kind of husband and wife were they? Or did she want to draw a line between them and settle the matter? Thinking of this, Jiang Zhao's heart skipped a beat. Is that what you think of me? Yi Er was taken aback. She lowered her head. No. Her voice was as soft as a mosquito's and filled with sadness. I just want to do something that I like. Before the Yun family fell, Dad said that he would send me overseas to study. Even if I couldn't develop my career overseas, I could come back and open a dance studio. I've been thinking about it. I feel like I've lost something if I don't open one. Alright. I'll send someone to select a location with you and see if there's anything you need. Okay, you tell her. I'll get her to contact you later. Yi Er looked up. She was stunned. Huh? What? You don't want to open one? Yes. Yi Er nodded her head like a chick pecking at rice. Jiang Zhao took off the hat on Yi Er's head and tidied her messy hair. But I have to make it clear to you. You can open a dance studio, but you can't accept gifts from others. This is a big taboo. I'm sure there will be a lot of people who want to use their connections to give you gifts. It was fine when you stayed at home in the past, but now that you're running a business, there will be people who want to take advantage of you. Remember, you can't accept anything other than the money you're supposed to receive. Yi Er nodded her head again. Jiang Zhao didn't know whether Yi Er understood or not. Just remember it. When the time comes, there will be a lot of rich ladies coming to buy cards when they know that you have opened a dance studio. There are a lot of things you must know well. Your husband doesn't need to accept bribes. Yi Er nodded even more fiercely this time. Honey, I understand. I understand. I won't cause any trouble for you. I promise. Jiang Zhao was glad that they could talk about such topics that would lower the temperature. After saying that, he quickly got up and walked to the dressing mirror to fix his appearance. He didn't want to waste any more time with Yi Er and left. Yi Er didn't expect Jiang Zhao to agree to her request so readily. Could it be that he liked to goad people into doing things? That didn't seem to be the case. That's right. Jiang Zhao was actually quite kind. Perhaps it was because of his compassion. She smiled, sat up, and swung her legs. As she was swinging her legs, the door opened. Qing Su walked in. How are you, Sister Yi Er? Yi Er leaned towards the side. She turned her head and understood what Qing Su meant. She ran her fingers through her hair and tucked it behind her ear. Lulu, come and sit. I'm fine. You look fine. Qing Su walked between the two beds. Let me ask you something. Go ahead. Is Min Hongsheng and Jiang Zhao at odds because of your relationship with that wastrel, Min Zikai? Qing Su originally didn't want to ask, but when she heard the commotion over here, she simply wanted to come over and ask about Yi Er's situation today. But when she saw Yi Er's excited expression, her guess went very smoothly. But for some reason, she remembered that Min Hongsheng had said this morning that he and Jiang Zhao weren't on the same page. Qing Su was still young and didn't understand many of the conflicts. She couldn't tell the difference between the factions at the back. But from Min Hongsheng's words, she could roughly deduce that Min Hongsheng and Jiang Zhao weren't on the same page and were enemies. But this didn't feel good. She couldn't tell what was wrong. Yi Er frowned and thought for a moment before saying, Is it possible to say that it has nothing to do with me? Min Zikai's mother doesn't like me. Your father naturally doesn't like me either. If I'm with Jiang Zhao, would he like Jiang Zhao? Qing Su sat down on the bed opposite Yi Er. It was rare for her to act like an adult and think deeply. She waved her hand and shook her head. But Sister Yi Er isn't like that. I just think that Jiang Zhao doesn't like Min Hongsheng. Him? I think he's alright. He doesn't seem to be doing anything that displeases the eye. Qing Su stood up. She didn't know if coming here today was the right thing to do. She felt that it was unnecessary. She was conflicted, but she didn't know why she was conflicted. Beauty novel, Song Shu 566. Chapter 606. Jiang Liqing paced back and forth in his office. He wasn't bragging. If he wanted to investigate something, as long as he had a clue, there was nothing he couldn't find out. Once he found out about the news, it turned out that the editor had a crush on Ouyang Yan and wanted to ruin Ouyang Yan's reputation. It was on purpose. What the F***K was this? If she had a crush on Ouyang Yan, then so be it. Why did she have to drag his son into it? This reporter must have been kicked in the head by a donkey. Jiang Liqing thought about it carefully. Even if the reporter had a crush on Ouyang Yan, followed him, and slandered him, why did she have to drag Jiang Zhao into it? One had to know that with Jiang Zhao's status, it wouldn't be good for the reporter to drag him into it. Why couldn't they just fabricate a story about him? Or could it be that Jiang Zhao's story was on the front page? Was there exposure? It was too abnormal. He didn't intend to tell Jiang Zhao about this immediately. He still had to investigate further. Based on his intuition, it couldn't be that simple. The Jiang, Qin, and Shi families were originally on good terms with their ancestors. But when it came to their grandchildren, their relationship became delicate. Outsiders didn't know about the conflict between Jiang Zhao and Shi Yunwu. Jiang Zhao couldn't say it either. After all, his wife's nude body had been drawn. He couldn't tell anyone about it. Besides, the elders in the family were on good terms with each other. Naturally, they would want their grandchildren to be on good terms with each other. He didn't want to ruin it. But he couldn't protect it either. There was no way to protect it. This kind of friendly relationship could only end in his generation. Who could stand his friend coveting his wife every day? What Unruly did was definitely not something a friend would do. So he didn't need to treat Unruly as a friend. So when the news came out and Jiang Liqing started investigating, Jiang Zhao instinctively suspected Unruly. It was understandable. When he returned to the office, he sent Lu Qing away. After closing the office door, Jiang Zhao took out an ordinary cell phone from his briefcase and dialed a number. After the call connected, he said calmly, "Yang Fan, let Gu Qin handle the company's matters first. These 2 days, focus on investigating this morning's news. It's best if you can find the person behind it." Yang Fan chuckled and replied casually, "Okay." Jiang laughed coldly, "Of course, it's best if you can't find the person behind the scenes. Forget about the bonuses and annual leave." "That's right. I think the bonuses are too high and the annual leave is too long. It has cultivated the lazy nature of our subordinates." "Check, check, check. Boss, check right away." Jiang Zhao smiled, "How's the thing I asked you and Gu Qin to do?" Yang Fan said, "Boss, it hasn't been done yet, so I haven't reported it to you. Min Zikai is a little greedy. Originally, we lured him into taking the bait and shipped a large batch of tiles to Canada as you said. Then, something happened in the middle and he asked for a lot of compensation. Min Zikai is probably used to living like a prince. He has never taken on a big contract. Now that he wants to take over the Min Group as soon as possible, he wants to take a big bite out of it. It's good that he can take on our business." Jiang Zhao wasn't in a hurry. His tall body was nestled in the office chair, arrogant and serious. He tiptoed and the chair turned. When it turned to face the window, his shiny leather shoes stopped and the chair stopped turning. Jiang Zhao held the ordinary cell phone in one hand and put the other on the desk, tapping gently. He waited for Yang Fan to continue. Yang Fan sighed. This deal was originally going to be done, but last time, it was messed up by a little girl. Later on, I checked and found out that it was his sister, Lu Qing Su. Jiang Zhao frowned. If this was going to happen, it would have happened before sister-in-law's accident. At that time, we were at the nightclub with some prostitutes. Min Zikai's sister followed him to the nightclub and said that she wanted to tell Sister Duo about him looking for prostitutes. We didn't hear her clearly, but Min Zikai's face darkened and he wanted to leave. When we asked him about the business, the little girl said confidently that Min Zikai couldn't make the decision for the Min family. If he wanted to talk about big business, he would have to talk to Min Hongsheng. She dragged Min Zikai away. I really don't understand. Logically speaking, it should have been fine after that, but after that day, when we talked about the freight, Min Zikai said that we shouldn't talk about this anymore. Jiang Zhao smacked his lips and changed his tone. Are you talking about a little girl who looks like she's 16 or 17 years old? That didn't make sense. How could Lu Qing Su help Min Zikai? And even if she wanted to help, how could Qing Su know that someone had set a trap for Min Zikai? This was too bizarre. Yeah, she's just a 16 or 17-year-old girl. She's very fierce. After talking about that big sister duo, Min Zikai will be obedient to Gigai. Jiang Zhao could already tell that it wasn't some big sister duo, it should be big sister Yi Er, right? Min Zikai actually cared so much about Yi Er's opinion? Let's not talk about those who haven't made any progress. What about now? I told him that I have a friend from the border of Yunnan and Burma who specializes in the jade business. He has a batch of jade that is going to be shipped to Europe. If he takes this business, he can make a lot of money. Moreover, he can do it privately. If the cooperation is good, my friend will ship a batch of jade every season. It will save him a lot of trouble and make money. Yang Fan said. Not bad. The price of the jade is scary. Jiang Zhao was expressionless when he said this. He didn't want Qing Su to jump out and ruin things. We don't know if it will work. She wants to open a dance studio, so it's best to get Gu Qin to check out all the information. Since she wants to open a dance studio, she should do it well. She has to do a market research, and the surrounding neighborhoods should be equipped with it. She has to do a thorough investigation of the surrounding housing prices and spending power. It's best to set the price properly, and guide her to do it. I'm worried that she doesn't know how to run a business, and if she doesn't do it well, her confidence will take a hit. Her confidence will be affected. He asked her to do things because he wanted her to do them happily. He would be annoyed if she pouted the moment she returned home. Don't worry, boss. We'll do a good job with sister-in-law. Yang Fan promised. Okay. You promised so well. If she can't make money, I'll make trouble for you. Yang Fan finally laughed awkwardly. After talking for a while, Jiang Zhao hung up the phone and put it away. His handsome eyebrows were like ink, but not like a big knife. When he was serious, he was ruthless and fierce. When he was gentle, he was elegant. At this moment, his eyebrows were tightly knitted, making people want to reach out and gently smooth them. The road along the river in Haicheng led to the shallow beach. The scenery along the way was pleasant. The river was wide and spacious. It was especially tranquil in the morning and evening when there was no fishing season. In winter, the river was always foggy, and the mountains in the distance were like a barrier. It was like an otherworldly paradise. The man was tall and strong, with bronze skin on his cheeks. His woolen hat was very big, and it wrapped around his head, making his head look very good. The liver-yellow leather jacket he was wearing looked a little old, but it also had a sense of being tempered by the passage of time. Standing on the road beside the river, he didn't admire the scenery. Instead, he looked at the road. He took a deep puff of the cigarette in his hand and threw it on the ground. He stepped on it and put it out. This area was the last place where Qing Su's car crashed into Yi Er's car. The man's gaze fell. At that time, there were a lot of messy tire scratches. But now, the ground was neat and tidy. The tire scratches from before were long gone. In this world, everything could be worn down, including life. But things like memories were hard to erase. They could be bred, such as feelings and hatred. The man's phone rang. His gaze was cold, but it inevitably made people feel dangerous. He was like an extremely cold-blooded hunter. Occasionally, when he heard the name of the person on the phone, his eyes narrowed and a murderous aura burst out. Don't worry, I'll finish the business he didn't finish. I know. Of course, this is the rule in the industry. But I'll give you another business for free. How about that girl with the surname Lu? She's not interested. I'll give it to her as a favor. Gusts of cold wind blew by the riverside. The wind was mixed with layers of water vapor. After a while, the man's black woolen hat was stained with water vapor. After he finished the call, the water vapor condensed into a thin layer of water droplets. His cold-blooded eyes narrowed slightly. The water vapor by the riverside instantly condensed into frost. The surrounding air seemed to have dropped by a few degrees. His voice was calm, but there was hatred in it. Brother, I won't let you die in vain. I'll help you finish the business you didn't finish. When Unwu rushed to the auditorium of the College of Communication in the university town, the press conference had already ended. Many people were replaying the video recorded on their phones. Unwu easily obtained the video with his quiet and elegant face. The sparse crowd told Unwu that he had been here for a long time. He stood under the locust tree with his hands in his pockets. When he got out of the car, he wrapped a scarf around himself. When he raised his head, the sun shone on his face. There was no warmth, but he could feel the sharpness of the wind. It cut his skin, causing waves of pain. When she woke up, he asked her for meat. The next day, she played with him. Suddenly, there was no hope again. Did she have to depend on Jiang Zhao to survive? It was already noon. Jiang Zhao took advantage of the lunch break to have lunch with Yi Er at the hospital. When he heard her phone ring, he stood up to get it for her. The words "Unwu" appeared on the screen. His face darkened. After the argument in the morning, she insisted that he was jealous of Shi Unwu. He didn't want to admit it. Answer it. Use the speakerphone. It was a simple sentence, but because he deliberately avoided looking at it, it had an inexplicable sense of dominance and dominance. It was clearly an order. Yi Er was still holding the spoon in one hand. She took the phone and placed it on the table. Her index finger touched the screen. She slid it open and pressed the speakerphone. Unwu. Jiang Zhao's face darkened again when he heard her soft greeting, but he deliberately kept quiet. He didn't believe that if he was unhappy, he would be caught red-handed by her. Jealousy was meaningless. Instead, it made her more arrogant. Unwu sighed and slowly let out a long breath. His voice was still the same, like the tinkling of spring water. However, it was autumn now, so it wasn't as cheerful as spring. The tinkling sound was slow and weak. Hey, Yi Er. Welfare, Xinwu 799. Chapter 607. Yi Er tightened her grip on the spoon. She and Unwu had known each other for a long time, and she had admired him for a long time. Unwu was a dream that she yearned for. Sometimes, when she thought about it, she felt like Unwu was a dream in her heart, a dream that was like a fairyland. She thought that if there was a day when she could live as carefree as Unwu, how great would that be? It didn't matter if she was a little poor. She liked to paint. Even if the wind blew, the rain fell, the sun shone, and the wind blew, she wouldn't stop. Unwu was a beautiful dream for her. This dream was pure and flawless, clean and pure, untainted by the mortal world. At this moment, his voice seemed to be inexplicably stained with dust, revealing a faint hint of sadness. Jiang Zhao tilted his head, and Yi Er's emotions instantly leaked out. Everything fell into his eyes. It was hard to understand a person's state of mind, but Yi Er's treatment of Unwu had always been different, and this had always made him feel ill at ease. At this moment, her absent-minded look and the way she suddenly gripped the spoon handle made his anger slowly spread. He thought that there was no emotion in this world that he couldn't control. At this moment, he didn't believe that he couldn't control himself. Yi Er, did you get together with Jiang Zhao because of what happened with Uncle Yun? I'll help you, okay? Don't make yourself suffer like this. No one could stand her husband having a mistress outside, right? The news had already been reported like this, yet she could still say that? For a moment of stability? When Yi Er heard this, his expression changed drastically. He swallowed hard as if something was stuck in his throat. Was Unwu crazy? If Jiang Zhao could tolerate it just now, it could be said that he cared about his reputation. Now that he couldn't tolerate it, it could also be said that he cared about his reputation. Facing the phone, he forcefully suppressed his agitated emotions and said calmly, "Shi Unwu, just take care of yourself. Seducing a married woman isn't something that a child like you should learn." With that, he hung up the phone. He didn't have the leisure to argue with this lovesick brat. The key was that Yi Er was here, so he couldn't lose his composure in front of Yi Er. She was getting better at controlling him. When she said that he was jealous, she was already provoking him. He couldn't give her another chance. Jiang Zhao continued to eat despite his internal injuries. When Yi Er saw Jiang Zhao's reaction, she didn't know whether to feel relieved or disappointed. She was relieved that he didn't bite her like last time, but disappointed that he didn't bite her. Unwu said those words. Jiang didn't bite her. Unwu had said that. He didn't even when he said it. Was she asking for it? Buried her head and continued eating. Jiang Zhao also didn't say anything. When they were done eating, Jiang Zhao's mouth twitched. He wiped his mouth elegantly and said, I'll say it again. You have to be mindful of your status. No matter who or what you did to get close to me and plan to marry me, you have to remember that you are now Mrs. Jiang. You are not an unmarried woman. You have to know who you should reject and who you should stay away from. Don't make me remind you every time. Otherwise, when you are involved in scandals, I will be implicated. You should know that if I am no longer the mayor, your father's matter will not be settled. You better hope that I can stay as the mayor for a longer period of time, right? Nodded and said, I will take note of that. Looking at Ye's despondent look, Jiang Zhao became even more impatient. However, he no longer warned himself not to get angry, or else he would look bad. Also, I've arranged for someone to help you look for the address of the dance studio. If you want to do a good job, you should put in some effort. Whether you can do a good job or not is one thing, but what kind of attitude you should have when doing things is another thing. Don't do your job in such a dejected manner. Get rid of all the teenage girl dreams in your heart and focus on your career. If you're in a hurry, the results won't be too bad. Ye raised her head and looked at Jiang Zhao. Did he just ask her to get rid of all her dreams of being a teenage girl? Focus on her career? Although her heart was aching, she had to admit that Jiang Zhao's way of talking was very effective on her. He did not put too much pressure on her, but he also set a rule for her. He found someone to help her. If her attitude was positive, it would naturally be twice the result with half the effort. But his last sentence was that it would not be bad. He did not say anything heroic. It was not exaggerated, and it was not hopeless. Because his request was so simple. It would be fine as long as it was not bad. Thinking of this, Ye's heart relaxed. Okay. I will do my best. You can't fall behind in school. You haven't been to school for so long. Liberal arts are easy, but science is rusty. In the future, don't think about going out at night when you come home. I will tutor you. Jiang Zhao felt that if he tried to interfere in other things, it would seem like he cared too much about her. But he could directly lock up all her time without her knowing. In the future, she could not go anywhere except home, school, and dance studio. He would not force her not to go, but he would not give her the time to go. Ye laughed dryly. No need. I can handle it. Besides, when did she go out to play? She was already very restrained. You want me to ask for help if I don't do well? How is that possible? Then take it that I was worried for nothing. Okay. If you are home at night, you can tutor me. She did not want to run around when he was home. Okay. I will go to the building after my afternoon nap. Jiang Zhao raised his eyebrows slightly. After Jiang Zhao left in the afternoon, Ye thought about it. She was going to be a boss, so she had to tell her friends about this joyous news. The main reason was that she was so excited that she could not help but want to shout. Also, since Jiang Zhao dared to let her open it, he was naturally not afraid of being talked about, right? After thinking about it for a long time, she thought that she should share it with Xiaoya, Xia Qian, and Jingling. In fact, Ye was too concerned about Jiang Zhao's future. In addition, she was still too young. That was why she was thinking about these problems. With Jiang Zhao's family background, even if his wife opened a 5-star hotel, he wouldn't be afraid of people investigating. He could just do some procedures and get Qin Zhen, Qin Rongfang, and the others to give shares or assets to him. It would have been better if Ye did not make this call. The first person to make the call was actually Xiaoya. When Xiaoya found out that Yi Er was going to open a dance studio, she praised her. Yi Er, if you ask me, I think you did a smart job. What do you mean? In the past, when I asked you to come to my place to be a model, you refused to earn the money. When I thought about how Jiang Zhao did not agree, there was nothing you could do. But now that you have thought it through, I am happy for you. Thank you, Sister Xiaoya. I am quite happy. It's just that I don't have much experience in business. It's just a hobby. Don't talk about hobbies. We need to think about how to earn more money. Men are unreliable. If you can earn money, that is better than anything else. Yi Er laughed along. Sister Xiaoya's words always make sense. Of course, when your husband has a mistress, you will know that with money, there is nothing to be afraid of. Even if he has 10 mistresses, it has nothing to do with you. F***ck. Qiu Xiaoya. Damn you. Yi Er could not help but scold Xiaoya. She was too anxious. Because she was young, she had always been polite in front of Xiaoya. However, this woman often jinxed things. What she minded the most was that Jiang Zhao had a mistress outside, divorce, and so on. This woman just had to mention it all the time. Oh, mayor's wife, it's not nice to hear these words. Xiaoya pretended to be angry and then laughed like a bell in the wind. Qiu Xiaoya, don't get married if you dare. Fine. I will not get married. Xiaoya sat on the desk with her legs hooked together, swaying back and forth. She tilted her head and held her phone while playing with her fingers. What's so good about marriage? All you need to do is to take care of yourself. Why do you still have to care about your husband after getting married? Aren't you looking for trouble? When you give birth, your body will be out of shape. When you have to take care of your family, your mother-in-law will find trouble with you. You still have to learn to tolerate. Anyway, it's fine if you marry well. But if you don't marry well, you are just looking for trouble. Also, men are all ingrates. After you serve him well, he will turn around and sneak out to take advantage of you. Fine, fine. Stop talking. My good mood is ruined because of you. Yi Er felt that Xiaoya had always been like this. What she said sounded like a joke, but when she said it out loud, it was so painful. But she could not say that she was wrong. After all, she had been through a lot. But she was not as open-minded as her. You can open one in the south. Don't be picky about the location. The building opposite us has 2 floors. It used to be a high-end women's clothing store. But I squeezed it out. The height of each floor is not bad, and there are not many partitions. It is spacious, and you don't need to spend too much effort to tear it down. Xiaoya's tone was very arrogant, especially when she mentioned the high-end women's clothing store opposite her was squeezed out by her. South? No, she did not ask Xiaoya where she wanted to open the store. Yes, the rich district in the south. There are many second and third generation rich people in the rich district. There are also many rich women. In short, there is only one word, rich. What does rich represent? It represents spending power. It represents spending power that does not even blink an eye. When Xiaoya straightened her head, she held her phone in her right hand. Her left hand reached for her glass of water on the table and took a big gulp. In an air-conditioned room, she had to drink a lot of water every day. I also signed up for an Indian dance class. But I feel that many people who learn dance are similar to me. When they are bored, they will train their bodies or lose weight. If you are a professional teacher who teaches children how to dance, it will be too simple. And in that case, you will have to hire a very famous dance teacher to be famous. Only then will you be able to afford the price. In this way, your cost will be higher. No matter how rich your husband is, he can't throw his money into the water for fun, right? Yi Er did not know how to do business. If she did, she would not have closed down her father's company. She had not really started to implement it, but when she heard Xiaoya say these things, she became more interested. There are so many ways to do it. Of course. Businesses are all interconnected. Ordinary dancing and fitness places are not expensive. You can't do business with ordinary people. You have to do business with rich people. Rich people are very calculative and can be ignored. Many rich people do not care about how much money they spend. What they care about is that the money is spent. They want to feel comfortable, and they want to feel comfortable from the bottom of their hearts. So you have to do service. Also, there is an advantage to opening opposite me. My clients are all rich people. When you first open, I can help you get some VIP experience cards. At the very least, you will have a stable source of customers in the beginning. Yi Er was stunned again. She did not want to do business with rich madams all of a sudden. Why did it seem like this direction was out of her control? If she was doing this for money, was there any meaning? Just as she thought this, Xiaoya's voice came again with a hint of surprise. Yun Yi. Don't tell me that you're not doing this for money, but for your hobby? Yi Er softly grunted like a mosquito. She felt that Xiaoya definitely could not hear her. Actually, she did not have any confidence at all. She actually liked money too. Yun Yi, are you having a fever? A hobby? Do you know how many artists are out there trying to make money? Don't think that you're not doing it for money just because you're on stage. Let me tell you, it's still the same. Why don't you close the door, install a mirror at home, and dance for yourself? Let yourself be intoxicated. What? I just want to be acknowledged by others. Yi Er felt that she was actually quite vain. When she was young, she wanted to be a dancer who was the center of attention. Xiaoya nonchalantly grunted. Don't be so pretentious. When your dance studio becomes famous and some TV station wants to do a competition program, get your Jiang Zhao to casually contact someone and get someone from your studio to be a backup dancer. When the curtain call comes, just sign your name and show your face. Once you have the title of a mentor, once your name is out, it will be easy for you to get into some association. In a few years, when you're slightly older, you can find an opportunity to ask your husband to contact someone to let you be a judge. Then you will become popular. When you're famous and rich, people will recognize you. Yi Er was speechless for a long time. Huh, are you talking about your own struggles? Xiaoya chuckled. That's right. That's how my man helped me become famous. However, he spent more money, so I became famous faster. Whether or not you can get the recognition of others depends on how much money your husband is willing to pay for you, her man. Xiaoya was speechless for a moment. She couldn't help but regret replacing Zhuang Yichen's name with my man. After saying this, she pouted and didn't want to say anything else. My husband isn't as rich as your man. How much does he earn a month? How can he compare with your man? Yun Yi, go to hell. Don't cry poor in front of me. How can your husband not have money to live in 9th mansion? Why are you pretending in front of me? I'm really not pretending. But I have to discuss with Jiang Zhao tonight about what you said. What's there to discuss? If you want the shop opposite mine, I can help you contact him. The location is so good. Don't miss this opportunity. Okay. I'll contact you tonight. Yi Er had just hung up when the door to the ward was pushed open. Yi Er turned around and was shocked to see the man standing at the door. Sir, who are you looking for? Sorry, I came to the wrong room. After the man closed the door, he took out his phone and compared the information and photos in the photo album. He snorted softly. Yun Yi. He stopped outside Qing Su's door and looked at the door number. His cold eyes narrowed slightly. Lu Qing Su? Come and take a look, Hongcha 866. Chapter 608. As usual, the man knocked twice, just like how he pushed open Yi Er's door. He pushed the door open and entered. Ching Su was a wild child. Even after entering a wealthy family, she did not deliberately restrict her behavior. When she was young, she lived with her mother and slept with her every day. It was fine even if she took off her clothes in front of her mother. She never felt any pressure. After returning to family Min, she was not used to it. She always went back to her own room to change clothes. After all, there was a man at home. She was also not used to staying in a hotel or a private room. She had to go to the bathroom to change clothes. She treated this ward as a private space. There was nothing wrong with changing clothes in her own room. Moreover, the attending doctor would only come for his rounds at 4 p.m. The nurses were all women. There were no men even among the cleaners. For a moment, she forgot to lock the door. The young woman's body was still young and developing. It was full and lively. When she heard someone knocking on the door, she quickly covered her bare chest and was about to say, "Wait a minute." But at this moment, the door was pushed open. She thought that it did not matter since they were all women. She was just a little embarrassed. However, when she turned around and saw a tall man standing at the door, Ching Su's expression changed drastically. The next second, she screamed, "Sister Yi Er! Save me! There's a pervert!" The man did not even have time to say, "Wrong room." He was shocked by Ching Su's naked body. She was standing in front of the full-length mirror. She was wearing an orange underwear that covered her chest. Although she was still a child, the curve of her back and waist was extremely attractive. He did not expect to see a naked woman when he came in instead of a patient. Light cotton had been operated on her rib cage and sutured. Although there were no stitches on the inside, it was still a little uneven. He did not dare to breathe too hard. When he screamed, his lungs hurt, and the sound of his scream sounded particularly painful. It was not that she wanted to panic in the face of danger. This was much more annoying than a car accident. She had never been seen by a man before. Yi Er heard Ching Su scream that there was a pervert. She threw away the phone in her hand and grabbed the glass vase with the lilies in it. She opened the door and rushed over. The man's back happened to be at the door. She looked at his clothes and saw his liver-yellow leather jacket. Wasn't he the one who entered her room by mistake? He actually entered Ching Su's room? Great! He was actually a pervert. This was a private hospital. Was she afraid? The man could only blame Ching Su for clutching her chest and squeezing her breasts as if they were about to burst out, causing him to lose focus for a moment. When he realized that Ching Su was shouting, "Pervert," he realized the danger he was in and wanted to go in and cover her mouth. Who would have thought that an oriole would appear behind him, and it was the oriole that was holding a large vase filled with flowers and water. Yi held the vase and spilled some of the water. The room next door was just a few steps away. The man's reaction was also fast. The smell of lilies, the sound of other people's footsteps, the sense of smell, hearing, and vision were all trained in their line of work. He could quickly sense the danger around him and prepared to turn and leave first, but Yi Er's vase had already been raised behind his head. He raised his hand to block and pushed the woman away. Unexpectedly, Yi Er did not smash the vase. Instead, she kicked the man's crotch. The man realized that Yi Er was going to kick his important part. He immediately prepared to catch Yi Er's kick. Yi Er had practiced dancing before, so her body was very agile. Sometimes, the stage reaction was very good in a battle of wits and courage. She quickly retracted her foot and moved her body to the side. The vase still did not shake. At this time, she smashed the vase with force. Bang! The glass vase was too thick and did not break. The water from the lilies turned into perfume and splashed all over the man's body. Blood flowed all over his head. Ching Su, who was sitting inside, had taken off all her clothes. When she saw Yi Er coming, she did not care about the pain in her chest. She quickly grabbed a shirt and put it on. After Yi Er went through the experience of chasing after robbers barefoot and being kidnapped by them, she realized that her brain was getting better and better. At the very least, she was smarter than before when it came to using her skills and reactions. She knew how to create a diversion. The man's gaze began to change from cold-blooded to fierce. Just as he was about to raise his leg to kick Yi Er, Ching Su, who was behind him, grabbed the high-end gaming computer that she had just thrown on the bed. She picked it up and was about to smash it at the back of the man's head. However, the man's profession was not a prostitute. He heard the sound behind him clearly. How could he not be on guard? How could he not be able to control two women? He turned around and strode over, wanting to grab Ching Su. Women were easy to control, but two women who had gone through trials and tribulations together were not so easy to control. Yi Er felt that if she let the man hurt Ching Su at this time, she would be too cowardly as the older sister. Moreover, her life was saved by Ching Su. If she became a coward now, she would be ungrateful. The bathroom door was open. Yi Er happened to be standing at the door. Ching Su must have just taken a shower. Her dirty clothes were still piled on the sink. Other than the thin cotton hospital gown, there was only her underwear. The man had already grabbed Ching Su's neck. Yi Er panicked and could not find a weapon. She pressed the emergency call button that could be seen everywhere in the room. She quickly grabbed one of the underwear that Ching Su had worn and pulled it open. She was tall, so her hand reached over the man's head. At this time, the man only cared about the petite Ching Su. He thought that Yi Er wanted to make a move on him. Since he had been discovered, he might as well kill one of them first. However, he did not expect that he would put on another hat. Although Yi Er's hand was grabbed by the man before she put on the underwear, she did not panic at all. She mocked, "If you put a woman's underwear on your head, you'll be unlucky for the rest of your life. Unlucky, unlucky to death. Huh. You'll lose every bet you make. You'll crash every time you see a car. You'll lose everything you encounter. You'll fall sick whenever you get sick." Yi Er grumbled as she watched the man choking Ching Su's neck with one hand and grabbing her wrist with the other. Yi Er wanted to hit him, but he quickly grabbed her hand to catch her other hand. In the end, both of her wrists were caught by him. Yi Er wanted to hit him, but he reacted quickly and grabbed her hand to catch her other hand. Yi Er realized that the strength of her hand had increased again. Could it be that she was angered? He was still very focused. She could not take advantage of him at all. If she moved, he would turn around and twist her joints. Ching Su gritted her teeth. Her throat was so tight that she could not speak. However, she did not forget to squeeze out some words with difficulty. "Sister Yi Er, how could you do this? There must be dandruff on his head. He's wearing a hat. He must not have washed his hair for many days. It must be stinky. That's my favorite pair of underwear. There's a pig's tail on the butt. Sister Yi Er, I hate you. Go and buy the same pair, and return them to me." Yi Er was frustrated for a moment. "Surnamed Liu, sister will buy a car full of underwear for you. F***ck. The man was furious. It really was an underwear? His fiery eyes glared at Yi Er as if he wanted to eat her up. "Damned woman. You're courting death." He had already grabbed Yi Er's arm, but he immediately reached out to pull the underwear on his head. Yi Er took the chance. She loosened her grip and scattered her energy. She lifted her leg and kicked the man's groin. "Go to hell. Let's see who's courting death. Yi Er watched as the man covered his crotch with both hands. He let go of Ching Su and quickly moved to Ching Su's side to support her. Then, she took 2 steps back. This move was actually very difficult to succeed. In the past, she had tried to use her elbow to hit Jiang Zhao's groin, but she had not succeeded. This was because men were most protective of that area. Just now, she had hit her head, but his groin was not easy to attack. But now, a woman's underwear had messed up the man's mind. The man was kicked so hard that he broke out in a cold sweat from the pain. He used his hands to protect the treasury that contained his descendants, and his whole body bent down. Yi Er gritted her teeth and used all her strength. This guy was probably going to be impotent in the future. Yi Er was anxious. Why were the nurses and doctors not here yet? Although there were only 6 rooms on this floor, there was an office for nurses on duty on each floor. Usually, when the bell rang, they would arrive within half a minute. But now, there was not even a nurse. It was too strange. Even when she and Ching Su had kicked the pervert to the ground, the nurses did not appear. Ching Su felt a terrible pain in her chest. Yi Er knelt on the ground and held Ching Su's body, who had fallen to the ground from the pain. She shouted, "Nurse! Nurse!" Only then did the man realize that he had underestimated the enemy. He had only wanted to confirm if the 2B** cheese were here. It would be more convenient for him to take action. There was a cold and hard gun strapped to his waist. He should have taken it out and killed these 2 damned women. Who would have thought that these 2 little girls, who looked so delicate and tender, would be so unconventional when they started shouting? The pain in his crotch was unbearable. Just as he was about to take out the gun, he heard a ding from the elevator in the distance. Enduring the pain, he stood up straight and ran out of the door. Yi Er did not have time to care about anything else. Ching Su was in so much pain that her face was pale. The nurse was still not here, and he did not dare to leave Ching Su. Yi Er could only watch as the man who had caused Ching Su to fall ill ran away. She held Ching Su and shouted anxiously, "Someone! Someone, come!" Jiang Liqing wanted to come early to talk to Yi Er about the mission his father-in-law had assigned him. If he waited until Jiang Zhao got off work, wouldn't it be troublesome? At that time, he would have to consider his son's feelings and his daughter-in-law's feelings at the same time. As an elder, he would become a sandwiched biscuit. However, as soon as he stepped out of the elevator, he heard Yi Er's sobbing scream. Although he was old, his steps were steady and vigorous. Yi Er's voice clearly did not come from his own ward. When Jiang Liqing stood at the door of Ching Su's ward, he was instantly dumbfounded. There were bloodstains on the ground, and the water stains had formed a large, frightening puddle. There was a large pile of damaged flowers, and it was frightening to look at. "Dad, Dad, call the doctor. Call the doctor." Ching Su was in pain, but she did not scream. Her face was pale as she endured the pain. She was sweating profusely, and her teeth were chattering. She squeezed out the words from between her teeth and said, I am fine. I'll be fine after lying down for a while." As soon as Jiang Liqing entered the room, he pressed the call button at the door. Yi Er shook his head and said anxiously, "Dad, it's no use. I pressed the button just now. Come here. No one has come for a long time. The murderer has run away, and no one has come." After Yi Er finished speaking, he did not dare to help Ching Su rub her chest and ribs. He was afraid that he would touch something he should not touch. Jiang Liqing shouted angrily, "Wait, I'll be right back." This was simply lawless. What did Yi Er say just now? Murderer? These 2 girls met the murderer again? This was a private hospital. The security was top-notch. Ad. Hongcha 866 Chapter 609. However, when Jiang Liqing arrived at the nurses' on-call room, he immediately understood what had happened. The nurses and workers were all sleeping like pigs. It was obvious that they had been drugged. He called the hospital director. When the call connected, he raised his voice and shouted, "What the hell? Tell me, what kind of *T private hospital is this? Hurry up and transfer the doctors and nurses here. Also, get me the surveillance footage from that day. Don't talk about *********. I don't understand. If you continue to use those things to brush me off, I'll get someone to close down your hospital just because of what happened just now." The hospital director was almost 60 years old. At first, he was a little disgusted by Jiang Liqing's attitude of using his power to oppress others. However, when he heard the latter part, he felt that something was wrong. What happened just now? What happened just now? Weren't there doctors and nurses in the inpatient building? There were nurses on every floor. Even if he wanted to call the attending doctor, he didn't have to call the hospital director. He could just call the nurses directly. What on earth happened? When Qing Su was sent to the emergency room for a checkup, Yi Er told Jiang Liqing what had happened in the afternoon. The old hospital director was also standing to the side. When Jiang Liqing heard what Yi Er said, he turned to glare at the old hospital director. After Yi Er finished speaking, Jiang Liqing looked at the old hospital director and started his argument. "What did I say? I said that your hospital isn't safe, right? Do you want me to spread the news for you? You can see which is more important, your privacy or your safety. Both are important." The old hospital director sighed. "But safety is the most important thing right now." Yun Hongwei didn't know that something had happened to Yi Er. When he brought Si Jie to the hospital to see Yi Er, the door happened to be open. A few people were standing at the door and saw Jiang Zhao talking sternly. "I don't care. I don't want the surveillance footage on this floor. I want the footage of all the possible places that the suspect might have passed through." This private hospital did not have an ordinary background. To be able to open such a high-end hospital, the people who lived in this hospital were naturally very capable. Moreover, the people who lived in this hospital were either rich or respectable. Some people even kept their illnesses a secret from the outside world. Once the secret of others was leaked, it would be no small matter. Yun Hongwei pulled Si Jie over to Yi Er. Jiang Liqing was also standing there, his face ashen. After greeting his in-laws, he asked, "What's going on? This is not a small matter. Jiang Zhao is worried that the people who are planning to commit murder today are related to the people that Yi Er kidnapped last time." Yun Hongwei's heart skipped a beat. "Yi Er, is someone trying to harm you again?" Si Jie was young but smart. He understood the meaning behind the adult's words. He hugged Yi Er's waist and asked anxiously, "Yun Yi, what did you do this time?" Yi Er placed her hand on Si Jie's back and shook her head to comfort him. "Sister is fine, she's fine. Don't worry." The hospital director sighed helplessly and said, "Jiang Zhao, it's not that I don't want to give it to you, but you have to consider our hospital's difficulties. Once news gets out that the hospital released the surveillance footage, how will the hospital receive other high-end patients in the future?" Jiang Zhao had lost all patience. If this was the deputy hospital director who did not have any relationship with his family, he would have punched him. This guy was taking advantage of his seniority. He was putting on airs just because he was on good terms with his father and grandfather. Did he really think that he was afraid of him? He waved his hand and said, "All right, let's not talk about this anymore. Regarding the medical incident a few days ago, I was thinking that you were close to my father and grandfather. Moreover, since Yi Er has woken up, I didn't want to cause any more trouble. But there's no need for that anymore. I want to file a lawsuit for this medical incident. I can broadcast the entire process live. I don't care anymore. If you want to file a lawsuit, you have to hand over those tapes. If you insist on making things difficult for everyone, then just don't care about your reputation anymore. Jiang Liqing was stunned. Broadcast the entire process live? Wasn't this going a little too far? The hospital director was stunned. Jiang Zhao, this matter, let's not talk about this anymore. My wife was in shock today, so let her rest early. I don't want to argue about other matters. I will get someone to prepare the documents immediately. I took photos of those bags of medicine that day. No matter what, I will start by blaming the hospital for this medical incident. There will always be a way to get what I want. Moreover. Jiang Zhao suddenly paused. His handsome face suddenly darkened as he looked straight at the elderly hospital director. His impatient expression was replaced with scrutiny, coercion, and doubt. I don't understand the hospital's actions. These 2 days, things have happened one after another. I can't do anything else. The day before yesterday, my wife woke up because she was given the wrong medicine. Even if you don't want to show me the surveillance footage, what about you? Don't you care about the responsibility of a nurse? What is that nurse doing? Where is she now? It's been 3 days since the incident happened, and you don't even have someone to apologize to me. Friendship is friendship, but there should be procedures, right? Or could it be that your internal staff has seen the surveillance footage and there are some unspeakable secrets that you don't want us to know about? Jiang Zhao's tone was extremely unpleasant. He didn't sound like he was talking to an elder who had a close relationship with his family. It was a habit for Jiang Liqing to be fierce with the hospital director. It was normal for them to be of the same generation. As they were very familiar with each other, Jiang Liqing and Qin Rongfang didn't take the apology to heart. The main reason was that Yi Er had profited from her misfortune. For the past 2 days, everyone's attention had been focused on whether she felt any discomfort after she woke up with the wrong medicine. When someone who had been in a coma for a long time suddenly woke up, it was always better to be happy than sad. Even if Jiang Zhao had asked someone to investigate, his current thoughts were basically on Yi Er's health. He didn't have the energy to care about other things. But after what happened this afternoon, he really couldn't let his guard down. We. The hospital director was so agitated by Jiang Zhao that she swallowed her saliva and rolled her eyes. The sound of high heels could be heard in the corridor. Every step she took was very pretentious. Before she reached Yi Er's ward, she straightened her back, tucked her hair behind her ear, lifted her chin, and walked towards Yi Er's room. When she saw that the door was open and there were a few people standing inside, including Yi Er, she smiled and held her bag like a rich lady. Yo, why are there so many people today? When he heard the sudden laughter, Jiang Zhao's expression darkened. He turned to look at the door and saw that the person was his mother-in-law. Mom, you're here. Jiang Liqing also greeted her. The in-laws are here. His tone was a little stiff. Jiang Liqing was a soldier and had a clear distinction between love and hate. Although Yi Er married Jiang Zhao because of her status, he more or less felt that she wasn't worthy of him. But since she had the husband's surname, then the Jiang family should treat her better. He more or less knew about Yun Hongwei's situation. Although he rejected him at first, Yun Hongwei was a man who started his business from scratch and had his own way of doing things. He treated people well and wasn't a narrow-minded person. When he interacted with people, he knew what to say. He knew that Yun Hongwei was a straightforward person, so he always listened more than he spoke. He appeared to be very cultured and his replies were concise and to the point, neither servile nor overbearing. He could be considered to have admired him. He really didn't have a good impression of Yi Er's biological mother. The number of times Yi Er was hospitalized after being injured was less than the number of times her in-laws came to visit her. She was gorgeously dressed all day long. Although she looked very young at 40 years old, her fingernails were painted as if they were dyed with blood. What was this? But in-laws were in-laws, so he still had to show them some superficial respect. Yi Er called out, "Mom." Si Jia threw himself into Zhou Li's arms. "Mom, you're finally willing to come. Did you miss sister?" In Si Jia's heart, he had always hoped that Zhou Li would come to visit Yi Er. He was very sensitive and would always catch the eye contact between the adults. Yun Hongwei curved his lips. "Xiao Li, you're here." Zhou Li greeted everyone warmly. "You're all here today. Yi Er is also awake. Let's have a meal together." Yun Hongwei's expression stiffened. He really didn't know how Zhou Li could speak in such a manner. This was the first time she had seen Yi Er since he woke up. Shouldn't she ask some personal questions? He had always known that Zhou Li was very dissatisfied with Yi Er's birth and had never paid attention to it. He didn't expect her to be so cold. Jiang Zhao thought that this was a family matter. It was too inconvenient to talk with the dean here. He didn't want to say anything unhappy and make others laugh. So, he sent the dean away first and told him some things that needed to be negotiated later. When he came back, Zhou Li was talking to Jiang Liqing casually. "Commander Jiang, why are you here? It's so good to be a commander. Jiang Zhao also benefited from you. As the mayor, he also got off work early." After saying that, she laughed a few times. She seemed very generous. Yun Hongwei breathed out some air through his nose and then inhaled deeply. It was really not suitable for him to talk to Zhou Li here. He was very uncomfortable and his heart was a little uncomfortable. Si Jia was still nestled in Zhou Li's arms. Yi Er saw clearly that his younger brother liked his mother very much. Jiang Zhao pretended not to see it. He came from behind Zhou Li and said softly, "Mom, please move aside." Zhou Li gently moved aside. Jiang Zhao was tall. When he walked past, he was expressionless. He was like a mountain. Zhou Li felt a burst of pressure. Zhou Li's words just now naturally drilled into Jiang Zhao's ears without missing a single word, making him feel uncomfortable all over as if he had been stabbed. If his father didn't come early today, would Yi Er still be standing here in one piece? If his father didn't tell him that Yi Er had an accident, would he go to the hospital before it was time to get off work? But now, he didn't ask Yi Er a word and cared about other people. He held Yi Er's elbow and said, "The doctor said that you just woke up 2 days ago and hit your head yesterday. You need to rest more and don't cause trouble. Why didn't you listen?" These words seemed to be deliberately said to Zhou Li. Yi Er heard it and said, "No, I didn't cause trouble. If I didn't go today, Qing Su would be finished." "Yes, yes, yes. You are righteous. You should go. Is that okay? I didn't say that you did anything wrong. It's just that the next time you encounter danger, don't you know to call me first before going?" Jiang Zhao was blaming him, but his tone was very gentle. He forced Yi Er to sit on the bed. Yi Er sat down and looked at Jiang Zhao. He pursed his lips slightly and complained that Jiang Zhao was blaming him. "I didn't think so much at that time. Qing Su was screaming for help. You were screaming for help too. Would I still have time to call you? I was so anxious at that time." In this room, even Si Jia could tell that Jiang Zhao didn't like Zhou Li. Zhou Li naturally felt it too. She quickly pulled Si Jia to Yi Er's side and asked, "Yi Er, did you encounter danger today?" Yi Er tilted his head and looked up at Zhou Li. He was a little touched and said, "Yeah. A pervert barged into Qing Su's room next door. You know Qing Su, right? The girl that family Min brought back a few years ago." Awesome novel, Songshu 566. Chapter 610. Oh, that girl. She's rebellious and unruly. She's just a wild girl. No one likes her. Zhou Li said with a hint of contempt. Yi actually felt uncomfortable when she heard those words. She thought that if it were anyone else, even if they were her best friends, they would feel conflicted when their parents reprimanded them, let alone their savior. However, she still smiled and said, "Mom, I used to be a wild girl too." "That's right. I'm curious. Why were you so wild in the past? You didn't act like a lady from a wealthy family at all. It's all because your father spoiled you. Other daughters from wealthy families are very dignified. You didn't have the temperament and cultivation of a daughter from a wealthy family at that time. Now that you've been through some hardships, you're more sensible than before." Yi Er's body trembled violently. Jiang Liqing had obviously noticed that Jiang Zhao, who had already straightened his back and looked at Zhou Li, had a hint of anger in his eyes. This anger was naturally unavoidable. No matter how dissatisfied he was with his son, he still had to praise him in front of others. How could he criticize his daughter in front of her father-in-law like this? If her in-laws were not good, wouldn't it become her daughter's weakness? Afraid that the smell of gunpowder would grow stronger, and even more afraid that Jiang Zhao would suffer internal injuries from holding it in, Jiang Liqing mediated. He walked over and took Si Jie's hand. Along the way, he brought Si Jie to his side. Although he was old, his physique was still strong. In order to close the distance, he pulled over an open foldable chair by the bedside table and sat down. With a rare look of affection, he said, "Si Jie, have you been happy at school recently?" "Not bad. I heard that sister's health is not good, so I'm just a little worried." Si Jie had a high EQ. In front of the elders of the Jiang and Qin families, he always knew how to act obedient. Si Jie is really a good child." Jiang Liqing patted Si Jie's shoulder. He did not treat him like a child and pat his head. Si Jie especially liked being treated like a man. His impression of Jiang Liqing improved. "Of course, I'm so obedient. Does that mean I don't need to go to boarding school?" When Zhou Li heard this, she walked over and squatted beside Si Jie. "Darling, don't you want to go to boarding school? How about you and Mom? You and Mama won't let you go to boarding school, okay?" When Yi Er heard this, he suddenly turned to look at Yun Hongwei. As expected, he saw his father's face turn pale. Yi Er jumped up and went to support Yun Hongwei, who was still in a daze. She mocked Zhou Li loudly, "Mom. You can go now. Don't come again. Don't appear in our lives again, please. Go and live your life of luxury, okay?" Jiang Zhao looked at Yi Er's agitated state. Without another word, he forcefully pulled Zhou Li, who was squatting on the floor, up. He didn't care if they were elders or juniors. He dragged and carried Zhou Li out of the room. When Jiang Liqing saw Yun Hongwei's reaction, he hurriedly pressed the button to call for help. This family was really worrisome. Not even for a single day. He couldn't help but complain in his heart. Jiang Zhao pulled Zhou Li to the corridor and said coldly, "Mom, why are you still here?" After questioning her, he sneered coldly, "People say that people live for their faces, and trees live for their bark. You've been persistently provoking father-in-law and Yi Er time and time again. What's your motive? I suspect that you're not here to ask for custody. You're just afraid that father-in-law won't die from anger and that Yi Er's heart won't be hurt enough, right?" Zhou Li bit her lip and suddenly looked pitiful. When she looked at Jiang Zhao, her eyes were already watery. "Jiang Zhao, please help me. I only want Si Jie. As long as Si Jie is with me, I promise. I promise you that I will do what Yi Er said and never appear in front of them again." Jiang Zhao found it extremely laughable. Who do you think them that Yi Er is talking about are? It's Si Jie, Yi Er, and Yun Hongwei. He paused and said firmly, "Let's go to court." Jiang Zhao, we really can't go to court. If we go to court, it's all over. Towards the end, Zhou Li's voice was like a weak worm's moan. It was hard to hear clearly. She seemed to be saying repeatedly, "It's all over. It's all over." Jiang Zhao didn't care whether Zhou Li was all over or not. He only hoped that Zhou Li wouldn't disturb his small family's peaceful life. He and Yi Er needed a quiet environment to spend time together. He didn't like life to become too exciting. He liked his family to be stable, peaceful, and harmonious. He wanted his family to be together even after they grew old. He didn't want anything to hinder this outcome. "Mom, that's enough. When a mother should be doing her duty, you ran away. There's no more chance." "Really? Jiang Zhao, it's not like that." Zhou Li held on to Jiang Zhao. The nurse had already entered the ward. Zhou Li dragged Jiang Zhao to the other end of the corridor. Jiang Zhao said coldly, "Mom, let me go. Mom, let go. I want to go in and see Yi Er and Dad." Zhou Li didn't let go. "Jiang Zhao, I want to tell you something. Just let me finish. Listen to me. Let's go over there and talk." Jiang Zhao saw that Zhou Li didn't seem to be lying. "Okay." At the smoking area at the end of the corridor, Zhou Li let go of Jiang Zhao's sleeve and lowered her head. Jiang Zhao straightened his sleeves and said, "Mom, go ahead." "Jiang Zhao, we can't go to court for this matter." Zhou Li didn't look up. She lowered her high heels. There was a circle of rhinestones around the edges of her shoes. It dazzled her eyes. Although she had never felt sorry for Yun Hongwei, it was still difficult to say it in front of her son-in-law. Jiang Zhao didn't say anything. He waited for Zhou Li to continue. "Jiang Zhao, Si Jia isn't Yun Hongwei's child. He can't win the lawsuit." Jiang Zhao was shocked when he heard this. To him, this was too shocking. Si Jia wasn't Yun Hongwei's biological son? How did this woman do it? How could she make Yun Hongwei raise someone else's son for nothing? He didn't respect Zhou Li to begin with. At this moment, he felt even more disgust. If Si Jia is willing, but what will Si Jia think when he finds out? How can he grow up healthily? This was the reason why Zhou Li refused to get Si Jia back for Yuan Shichang. Sigh. Jiang Zhao sighed softly. If she was worried about the child's physical and mental health, she wouldn't have done such a thing. His eyes became a little dull. A day as husband and wife means endless devotion. Father-in-law needs Si Jia now. Why do you have to force him like this? Don't you feel guilty at all? Guilty? I don't love him. I just feel sorry for Si Jia, Zhou Li said truthfully. Jiang Zhao frowned deeply and turned his face away. So it was okay to have a child with another man if you didn't love him? You didn't even feel guilty? Oh my God. Was his thinking too old-fashioned and couldn't keep up with the times? Or was it wrong for two people who didn't love each other to be together? Yi Er must be Yun Hongwei's biological child, right? So Zhou Li didn't even love Yi Er? What if Yi Er gave birth to his child in the future? Would she not love him either? Jiang Zhao ignored Zhou Li. He didn't hear Zhou Li call his name either. He just left in a daze. Slowly, step by step, it was as if his feet were shackled by thousands of pounds of iron shackles. It was said that like mother, like daughter. Would Yi Er not love his child in the future? How could Yun Hongwei not know that Zhou Li had a child with another man? He felt that this world was really scary. How could he not know that the woman he spent all his time with had an affair with another man? Jiang Zhao felt a headache. The coils in his head were tangled and pulled in a mess. It was as if his head was filled with something and was about to explode. Suddenly, it was emptied. He leaned against the wall and felt a little weak. He sat on the bench to rest. He rested his elbows on his knees and rubbed his face with his palms. The more he rubbed, the more chaotic the nerves in his head became. No. No. He couldn't continue thinking about it. Yi-er was different from Jolie, Yi-er was kinder than Jolie. She didn't abandon her younger brother when she was in dire straits. She did everything she could to get her father out of prison. She said that she wanted a family, a warm family. How could such a girl's character be bad? At least it showed that she had a strong sense of family and responsibility. How could a person with a strong sense of family and responsibility be like Jolie? A woman like Jolie didn't know what a sense of responsibility was. If she did, she wouldn't have abandoned Yi-er and Si-jie, right? So the saying, like mother, like daughter, did not exist. It didn't exist. Yi-er couldn't be as fickle as her mother. Ah Zhao. Jiang Zhao's divine sense was awakened by Yi-er's anxious voice. It was such an intimate form of address. Only she would call him like that. He let go of his hands and propped his forehead up with his palms. His eyes followed his head and he saw Yi-er running towards him with an uneasy expression on her face. Jiang Zhao stood up and caught the hand of the woman who had run to him. What's wrong? Ah Zhao, the doctor said that my father needs emergency treatment again. What should we do? Yi-er tried her best to hold back her tears and fear as she narrated to Jiang Zhao. Let's go and take a look. Jiang Zhao hugged Yi-er and hugged her shoulders. The two of them didn't look back at Jolie and quickly walked towards the other end of the corridor. Yunyi, Dad will be fine. I believe you. Jiang Zhao's heart trembled for a moment. In the end, Jiang Liqing didn't say anything on this trip. It didn't matter. At most, if his father-in-law asked, he would just say that he had already spoken to him. Looking at him, it was obvious that he wouldn't come to confront him. Jiang Liqing felt that his thoughts at this moment were a little unworthy of his military uniform. A soldier should be upright and plain-spoken, but didn't the saying go? If the family was harmonious, everything would prosper. Now that the Yun family was in this state, he didn't want to add to the mess. Jiang Zhao had something on his mind. He wanted to go to the hospital director to get the surveillance footage, but Yi-er grabbed his hand tightly and refused to let go. He could only wait outside the emergency room with her. Si-jie sat next to Yi-er and patted Yi-er's leg like an adult. It's okay, sister. Don't worry too much. Humans were like that. When you had someone to rely on, you could be weak. When you didn't, you were forced to be strong. When Jiang Zhao wasn't around, Yi-er would pat Si-jie's back and say to him in a firm voice, Si-jie, it's okay. Don't worry. Sister has a way. But now, she would grab Jiang Zhao's hand tightly and squeeze it tightly. She would say to Jiang Zhao in a trembling voice, Hubby, I'm scared. What should I do? People who had someone to rely on would slowly become lazy because they could fulfill every request. They could stretch out their hands for clothes and open their mouth for food. They didn't have to look at other people's faces anymore. They didn't have to do everything by themselves anymore. If there was someone by your side and you told him that you were scared, he would say, Don't be scared. I'm here. In the past, whenever Yi-er encountered setbacks, she would tell herself that she had to be strong. But when she was about to collapse from failure, she couldn't help but say angrily, I don't want to be strong at all. I want to be weak. It's not good to be strong. A powerful novel, Songshu 566. You're tuning into the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.